Greetings and salutations, degenerates. A normal ArchCast today, no fancy guests, none whatsoever. Although our portraits are still further apart than normal. This is just a
Oh, you want to
thing.
be closer together? Okay, if you insist.
No, this is fine. This is fine.
We need to kiss.
No adjustments required.
Terrible.
Well, we will have some guests in the future, because originally we were like, we're not going to bother with guests, but, well, all of you little people get happy and give many likes and such things when we have guests on, so we will bring guests. I'm sure we can get V at some point, the little Romanian gypsy. Dev has been promising to have us on his channel like 752 times,
Yeah.
and he will still appear on this channel first, the little cocksucker.
Oh, Dev. Gosh darn boomer. At least he does admit he's a boomer.
Gosh darn Dev and everything he stands for. It's true.
Yep.
So we'll have some more guests. But for today, we have just a couple of regular topics.
It's quite the throwback, honestly.
Retro.
Retrospective.
One of the first thing is, we've got a trailer up here in the background. Go ahead and just, play it without the sound. I doubt they'll start copyright claiming people for sound, but you never goddamn know these days.
That's true. Oh, man.
Of Men of War 2. Not to be mistaken, by the way, for Men of War 2 Assault Squad 2, which is a thing as well. But the actual sequel, quote unquote, to Men of War, which, man, how long has it been? When was Men of War released?
2014, 15, if I had to guess based on my memory. It felt like it was around that ballpark.
It's been a bloody while. Let's see. It's
That
such
might
a
be Assault
niche game.
Squad.
It doesn't even have a goddamn wiki page. Okay, let's search for it.
That's strange. The Assault Squad spin-off series is more popular, if I remember right.
Way more popular. Oh, that's right. That's right, because it wasn't called Men of War to begin with. It was called Soldiers, Heroes of World War II, and that's from, the year 2004.
Oh, yeah, they've been around for a while. Their franchise, at least. God dang. I remember seeing that in stores and going that looks very mediocre.
Yes, didn't it? I mean, the cover art is just... It's so much ham, you can't even really imagine it'll be good.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious how this one's going to turn out, because the other one is plagued with so many problems. It's a fun game, but the AI is abysmal, and I'm hoping that is the biggest improvement in this one. Because your troops would just kill themselves if you didn't hold their hands at times. Which is strange, because other times they would just, take cover, they would actually return fire, and then sometimes you just get them where they just sort of stand there in front of a tank with a bazooka and just sort of stare at it while everyone around them dies until they finally die.
Oh yeah, Men of War has some weird little things in it. Because even they released, well, they didn't, but there was a modding team that made another game, Gates of Hell Ostfront, which was based entirely off the engine. It was basically just a mod for Men of War.
Mm-hmm.
And it has all the same problems. Even released in 2021, it has the exact same issues with non-functional AI and all kinds of wibbly wobbly background shit. You can see the engine kind of be like, I don't understand what order system is. I don't have attack move. I'm stuck in 2001.
It's and if they can fix that problem, this would really, I think this would actually shine as an incredible RTS. Because that was a very dated problem in the old engine. I have high hopes and expectations that they're going to make massive improvements to the AI, which honestly was the only thing holding that game back from being truly incredible in my opinion.
Yes, because for anyone who hasn't played Men of War, or even Men of War Assault Squad 2, Men of War 2 Assault Squad 2, that'll be a title at some point. Or will it be Men of War 2 Assault Squad 3?
Yeah, I think it'll be 3. Honestly, I kind of just hope they...
complicated.
I never played I played Men of War Vietnam. That was awful. I played the Cold
Oh
War
yeah.
one. That was awful. I've never played the
Hmm.
mainline games because of those two. Because I was so terrified of how bad they'd be. They've made a lot of bad games too, so you do have to be cautious because that Cold War game was
Basically,
awful.
all of their knockoff titles are just actually bad. And a lot of the problems is because of how dated it is. Like the engine hasn't evolved for a decade at this point. And one of the biggest things, if you haven't played Men of War, is that there is no AI. Like well, there is an AI, but the AI is bound to like occasionally shooting at enemies that it can spot sometimes. If you order them to assault something, for example, there's no attack move. And so your guys will just walk slowly into machine gun fire, getting butchered as they do so, until you stop one of them and take manual control over him. And you can do that, entering into a
Which is
third person
cool.
mode, which is really cool, yeah, but you shouldn't have to do that just to return fire.
Oh, definitely, I agree. One of my favorite features was doing the cooperative campaign in Assault Squad 2, and being able to manually control the infantry dudes. Like it would be so
Hmm.
cool if they increased the co-op player count to like 4 or something, so you could have one player like doing the RTS controls, the others are actually taking control of the tanks and the individual squad platoon leaders or squad leaders. I mean, not platoons. And like leading their dudes into battle. That would be super super sick.
It would, because the third person control scheme is really cool, and I've had so much fun in the skirmish matches in I think it's base Assault Squad 2, where you had to assault an objective. You start out with a couple of dudes and you have to assault up this long ass map with tons of defenses, and you're constantly under super heavy attack from tanks and infantry. And it is such a slugging match, and it is really cool because you got to control everything. Like one of
Yeah.
them, you get a tiger tank, and you gotta baby the shit out of that thing. Like one player just has to control the tiger the entire time almost.
Damn.
Oh, but it needs the AI. That is the thing it needs. It needs AI improvements. It needs it
Performance.
needs to become a modern game.
I'm honestly hoping that they'll focus on performance and the AI. Like visuals are a tertiary concern because honestly, like average visuals with coupled with great gameplay and good AI would honestly outshine anything, I think.
Oh yeah, like looking at the trailer running in the background, the visuals honestly look that like they have barely changed from Men of War. Like you can see there's a bit higher resolution textures here and there. You can see that they upped the details of some of the foliage, etc. Like there are little things, but by and large, it does not look very different from Men of War at all. And that's fine, because what I want is tons of units, I want tons of stuff, tons of tanks blowing up, infantry, artillery barrages, cool shit. And if it looks a little dated, not a problem.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd take stuff on screen over lacking stuff. That's you know what's funny? We bring this up, but we recently streamed Anno 1800 the other day. We started a series on that on my channel, and Arch and I were actually discussing this very point. In Anno 1800, the cities are gorgeous. They're filled to the brim with people. You can go in first person mode and walk among them when your city's being attacked or whatever, and you can just like walk around and see the lives. And when you walk up close, they're actually really low, like poly wise, but honestly, you don't even give a shit because it's so impressive and immersive, and your city's so lively. People are talking with each other, trading with each other, walking around, and they look like they're living their lives. And honestly, that aspect, that immersion, that draw distance, focus on draw distance over the immediate bubble visuals like around you that pop in and pop out, like that looks way better than having like a great, high poly model next to you and then in the distance a 2D sprite because the game can't
Hmm.
handle that.
Absolutely. And what's nice too is we're starting to see a tiny little bit of a resurgence in the strategy market. Not much. It's the barest ripples, but despite Iron Harvest's many shortcomings, particularly when it comes to the campaign and in degrees to the multiplayer and many little things, it seems to have like opened the door just a little bit for people to kind of try dipping their toes back into the water a little bit again. There's the Rotten Reich guys, which are working on their style COH style game with some Men of War elements as well. Now we got Men of War 2, and of course there's Company of Heroes 3, which see the alpha pre-alpha really it had some junk. It felt off, like it was very clearly unpolished and unfinished, but it was a product. It felt a hell of a lot more than a Company of Heroes than Dawn of War 3 ever did. Something.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, we are seeing a resurgence, and this is good. Even as far as like the Age of Empires series, with them getting new updates and content for all of their games, all the way back to 2. The Company Heroes 3, which I played a little bit, I wasn't particularly impressed, but it doesn't really matter. The fact that there are more companies making movements into the RTS genre will inevitably encourage other companies to follow suit, because other people are going to do the, I forget the technical term is, where you have one person sort of spearhead a genre, and then everyone follows in. All it takes is one of them to succeed. Like Minecraft, for instance, when it came to the survival crafty genre, it succeeded, and look what it spawned. It spawned massive amounts of, not necessarily copy games, but games that did their own thing, like Terraria, etc., Starbound, and even more. And you see that with like games like Factorio, too. Factorio inspired Satisfactory and other logistics factory sim games. All it takes is one remarkably outstanding success for people to smell money, because I don't blame a developer. They want to make money. They're going to make a game where there's a demand. And if there's a demand for it, and people can show that demand with their wallet, people will want to make games for that, because they're going to want to get that money. Trendsetter. Thank you very much, Mikkel. Oh, forgot that word. But yeah, or more like name, but phrase. So hopefully we get a breakout. If it's this game, great. If it's, Company Heroes 3, great. If it's some other title we've never heard about, great. As long as somebody breaks out. Or if it's the new Supreme Commander that's being developed. The spiritual successor, I'll say.
That'll be interesting, too. See, there's one of the other problems as well, right? Pedigree of RTS developers. Because you never know what to expect anymore. Like the dev team, for example. They've done a fantastic job with making FAF good and playable and effective within the limitations of the game. And now the question becomes, okay, but how much of that skill is going to be transferred into making their own product?
Mm-hmm. That is true. Because it's one thing to mod a game, it's another to make a game. Because I've talked with a fair few mod developers who work on mods, and they have completely different problems than the problems we're faced when we're developing our own engine. Because they can use pre-existing code. Like, there's already code for walking around, Our game didn't have that, so we had to create that code for walking around. We had to create the code for the user interface. They already have a framework to work around in. Now, the one thing they will have is they will have experience developing and working with that engine and understanding the fundamental principles of the design. So I have high hopes because of that. That's a lot more knowledge than, say, a company or a studio trying to make an RTS that's never made it before. Let's just hope they don't get cocky,
Yes, and let's hope that they don't have some weird ideas in the background. It's like, you know what, Supreme Commander would have been a much better game if we just removed the resource gathering system entirely and had you gather up pigs and cows instead. Some random, completely absurd thing.
Yep, as an example, definitely. Where it sort of breaks the formula of what mechanically makes that. Now, they are making their own game, and I expect them to do some innovative works with their stuff that makes sense in the cohesion of what the game's design is. Because, for instance, Supreme Commander had a really awesome ferry system. And you could an automation system. You could automate factories to produce to a rally point. That rally point would pick up the tanks, deliver them to a landing zone. You could assign fighters to escort and gunships and bombers on a patrol pattern to do like bombing runs, and then you could assign factories to feed into those patrol networks. And it was so cool how you could just automate warfare to such an insane degree.
The only thing the game really needed was an A move split order. This is something that they've actually put in the latest update of the engine in combat mission, which is very interesting. Where if you've got 4 units shooting at 4 targets, the 4 units will actually communicate with each other and be like, "Hey, I'm shooting that one. This you're shooting that one, etc."
Mm-hmm.
So that they're splitting up their attack. Because in massed warfare like Supreme Commando, that would be very useful. Because we've all had that, it's like, oh, I got a big bomber army, go over there and attack. Every last one of them drops their bombs on the same building.
Oh, yeah. That you raised an excellent point. So tier 1 bomber spam is a lovely strat, but requires heavy micro, right? What's annoying about bombers is like when Arch said, if you do an attack move, how the AI handles that is, based on my observations, is they target whatever's the closest to that specific bomber. So if there's 3 lead tanks, those 3 lead tanks will get all the bombs of like the first half of the wave of the bombers, and then the second wave might target the next tank if it blows up in time. But the problem is that entire payload is wasted, and if that army is intermixed with anti-aircraft vehicles, most of those bombers are you're gonna see a massive loss of bombers in exchange for little reward. So it would be better with automation, and that's another thing with RTSs. AI, the ability for a RTS to actually, your AI, your troops to behave smartly. I mean, look at Warcraft 1 as an example of primitive AI, where you had none. In Warcraft 1, your dudes would just stand there, and you would have to order them to defend themselves, or they would just die.
Oh, yeah. And that's a difficult part too, because AI is very, 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 very hard. And that'll be one of the big challenges for Men of War 2, because 1C has not done all that much in the way of like full-on RTS in a while. Like their recent history has been somewhat spotty. There was Ancestor Legacy, which wasn't bad. It completely failed to capture an audience, to put it like that. Did you play it?
What was the name of the game?
Ancestor Legacy.
Oh yes, okay. I was like, that's ringing a bell. It's like a Company of Heroes inspired, like medieval warfare game.
Kinda, yeah, in a weird way.
It had like some new mechanics like charging, and that was important to charge units and flank stuff. It was kind of cool, but I didn't have anyone who had it, so I just never really played it that much outside of the single player missions.
Yeah, it was in a very unfortunate position in that the game itself was actually pretty gosh darn solid, but nobody cared.
Not in
Like
our
it's
immediate
very
sphere,
positive reviewed on Steam and everything. Like everyone who played it kind of enjoyed it, but not a whole lot of people actually did.
They even had some pretty cool sync kills, if I remember right.
Yep. See, that is one of the goddamn problems, isn't it? Because 1C is one of those companies who have become kind of stuck in the mediocre, making all kinds of weird shit department. They're almost like Slytherin in that regard. Like they make a ton of stuff, 98% of which is kind of awful, but every now and then they can come up with something really cool. And they're also one of the few companies that are they're not the producers, they're the
Publishers.
They're the yes, publishers, not the developer.
Yep.
But they're willing to take some risks and actually try and make some cool and different stuff.
Yeah,
they're one of the
back
ones
small
that's
companies.
leading in the more semi-warfare thing, for example.
Yeah, there's 1C and then the revival of micropose as well that we're seeing enter that field.
Yes, micropose is there's an interesting one, isn't it? Because they've had a very odd track record as of right now.
They do, because that Carrier Command game, that Carrier Command 2, I want to say it, like, I really want to like it, but I just, so far I can't. It's got some obtuse controls and design. Oh, man.
It's a very difficult game to like.
I hope they don't abandon it, because I see potential. I see potential there, but there has to be more stuff for the crew to do on your carrier. More stuff to do, more, better interactions and better control schemes.
It's really interesting because they so far they've released High Fleet and they've released Carrier Command 2 and they've released this weird like 16-bitty B17 kind of fly simmy game based on a 20 odd year other game, B17 Flying Fortress, the Mighty Eight. You might remember that ancient ass game.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played the B17 one. I played the High Fleet. High Fleet is incredibly stylistic. Like it oozes personality and soul and passion, but it's also a really weird game to play. Like a really goddamn weird game to play.
It is. Yep. Oh, the thing about High Fleet's going to do really well, by the way. One of the big review boys, one of the most popular ones, Seth Seentak, just did a video on it, which is guaranteedly going to get that game some serious sales. So that's good for that game. I would expect a lot more content updates. Also, I learned something interesting from his review. It's actually developed by one Russian dude. I'm not sure if that was a joke, but I could believe it.
Yeah, no, it actually is.
Oh,
There's
God,
even the even on the Steam page, the developer is simply just the dude's name.
That's not too uncommon, actually, when it's a single developer. They're just like, I don't know, Jeff.
Yep.
I mean,
it's such a cool little game. It's got so many cool little things, and it's got so much design, so much soul, so much passion, but it doesn't explain a quarter of its goddamn mechanics. And the UI is this early 2000s UI in that it takes up the entire screen, and it's all rendered in this weird kind of flickery tan-ish color setting. It is a game for those with peculiar interest, shall we say.
Yes, it is. You can really tell when a game is made by a passionate developer, be it Factorio, be it High Fleet, because it's dripping with so much charm and soul. And that game, you can tell, is made by somebody who not only understands how to make games, but also cares deeply about it. So if you haven't tried it, it's not super up my alley in terms of like the gameplay. It's cool as hell though. You should check it out, chat. High Fleet is actually pretty interesting.
That's the thing. Like, I love the idea of it, but I don't want to play it again.
It's too stressful.
It is. Like, it is such a blood pressure increaser. It's not even funny because everything is beeping and booping and screaming and screeching at you as you're worrying about it. You're constantly running out of fuel. You're constantly running out of resources. You can't turn on your radar for a quarter of a second without getting pinged by half the map. Oh, God. And again, the game does such an incredibly bad job of explaining anything to you, so you're just sat there screaming at the screen like, why are you beeping at me? Why?
Beep, 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 beep. And it's like, oh, shit. It's like, there's a missile inbound. You can jam it, and it's like, okay. But, like, the missile's going so fast that you press that button, it's just there to make you feel better about yourself before you explode.
Yes, and it's a game that you need to play for 6 or 7 hours before you even know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, no, in one bit of criticism I'll level towards any game is tooltips. Tooltips, it's just my preferred method of learning. Like, I don't actually like tutorials that much. I like a game with good tooltips. You hover your mouse over something, the game sort of explains and tells you the information you kind of need to know about it. That's something that I wish the recent Hearts of Iron expansion for the logistics system had. Because I was like, what the fuck is happening?
What is this?
Why is this? It's like, why are my men have no supplies? Oh, you can increase the amount of vehicles distributing supplies from that node. Well, why didn't you tell me I could do that?
That is the problem. Like, many games have these things today where it kind of just assumes that you know shit. Like, High Fleet is one of the worst offenders of this. Like, I remember in the tutorial, it simply tells you, right, you can do this by activating your ECM. I'm like, if I didn't know that means electronic countermeasures, how the fuck am I ever supposed to know this? Like, 3 letters. What does it do? I don't know. How do I turn it? I don't know. What's the defective radius? Stop asking me questions.
So some people really enjoy learning through that method, but I do think I'm a big believer in tooltips in terms of design. Tooltips.
I am too old to learn that way anymore.
What, with tooltips or just like beat your head against the wall?
Beat your head against the wall. Like, I just want the game to tell me how to play it at this point. Please, I want to know.
A well-constructed and well-drafted together tutorial section of a game as well, if you want to go the extra mile. Like, where it breaks down each mechanic. This is something, okay, I know it's not super related to what we were talking about, but I want to shit on Paradox a little bit because I'm annoyed at them. Because they never update their tutorials. They want you to watch YouTube videos for their latest expansion, which I did.
I know, I hate it.
I was like, but why can't you guys update your tutorial? Like, because somebody told me that the tutorial's not updated, and I was like, what the like, you release new contents, you change fundamentally how, like, terrain and weather works and how logistics work. So if I play the base game's tutorial, it's going to tell me everything to get myself killed.
And I despise the current trend of using YouTube videos as cunting tutorials. I hate it so much because it's just, God damn it, our YouTube channel is tiny, nobody watches it.
Put them
Maybe
in the
we
game.
should force them.
Like, another thing I wouldn't even be opposed to them doing is if the videos were actually downloaded into the game as well. So there's a video tutorial button. Like, put it inside the game. Because think about it. What if you're new to the franchise? You buy this game, you're like, I want to play this game. It looks really cool. And you play the tutorial, and you're like, okay, like, I get it. And then you play the game, and you absolutely get, like, plastered every time. That person's new to the franchise. They're not going to know to look for YouTube videos on their YouTube channel. The game needs to tell them that information because they paid, $20 plus all the DLC, which is like over $100 if they did that. I would expect them to do the basic bare minimums of teaching the player how to play their cunting game.
Would be nice on occasion.
Uh,
It is a thing. But more strategy is good. And to return to the topic of micro pros too, Carrier Command 2 is, again, one of those games that was very clearly made by a person who had a very specific idea of what he wanted to make. It just turned out that what he wanted to make was a violently boring game that hates the player's time. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But they're updating that. Like, it might very well be worth a check again in like a year's time. And the other stuff they're making, Arms Trade Tycoon tanks, like a tycoon game where you have to design tanks and then you can see them perform on the battlefield. Really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're also working on 2 hardcore simi games, which I fucking love. Sea Power and Task Force Admiral. Both hardcore simi games. Like, yes, more simi bullshit. And Regiment. You remember that? The, like, Wargame Red Dragon style game they're working on?
It's like Wargame Red Dragon, but, like, also looks a little World in Conflict-y.
Yes, very World in Conflict. It's Wargame Red Dragon made for people like Disco, basically. Like, let's take this opportunity to insult Disco, because she probably can't defend herself right now.
We're safe for now.
It's world... Exactly. It's Wargame Red Dragon for people who just thinks like, okay, this is an IFV, it does this thing, instead of going like, oh yes, this is the 1982 upgraded version of the BMP-2 with the 35 millimeter autocannon, yes, and the Concourse anti-tank guided missile.
I mean, to be fair, players aren't going to know that information if they're not familiar with it. And games should be designed to teach people how to play the game and understand the game's mechanics. So yes. I'll actually say that in defense of players who are new to those games and I haven't played them, because I myself, when it comes to World War II stuff, I know more about World War II technology. I know a bit about late Cold War, but mid Cold War or early, that stuff I'm not super into because I'm more follow antiquity. So I would like the game to better explain, like, okay, I know what an ATGM is, but what's this one? Because there are very different types of anti-tank guided missiles, and they all have different things and quirks and stuff about them. So I'd like to know about it,
Mm-hmm. And Regiment looks like it's very much so aiming for the more middle of the road crowd, because Wargame expects you to not only know what all of these things are, it expects you to remember it in the middle of battle so that you can correctly identify what you're up against and its capabilities.
Yep.
I played they had a demo for Regiment up a little while for several of their games, actually, which I played it a bit, and it's cool. It feels oddly clunky after getting used to Wargame. And like everything is really arcadey and simplistic in a way where gunships beat tanks, tank beats IFVs beats helicopters, which feels super odd when you're coming straight from Wargame. But I think it might be much more of a crowd pleaser. Like normies will look at that game and go like, "Well, I'm a master strategist now. I know what this beep boop does."
Yep.
It has been delayed to 2022, however. Like every game that was in development was like, we're gonna release this year. Not a single one of them did. Because all of them thought like, oh, the Voldemort virus is done now. Yes.
Got him. Oh man, that's the one thing I will say is the advantage of being indie, because you all work remotely anyways. Like honestly, when people refer to like the Voldemort virus, like I forget it's even real. I'm like, wait, that's the thing that's happening. I live in the middle of nowhere on top of that, so that doesn't help either. Oh man. But yeah, I imagine it does affect studios, because studios, they have to come in and actually do the time, you know, like a standard office or something like that. So that's really going to hinder those games. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. There's such a... The industry, the market right now, because of the indies, because there's people, there's artists you can get a hold of stuff, like, it's such a blossoming market right now. And I'm just worried that something's going to come in and just ruin that. So get in while the going's good, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure something will happen. I mean, all the big companies are going to collapse soon, and that'll probably drag everything down in a maelstrom of horrible nonsense.
Actually, I think that vacuum would probably just mean double A's would fill the positions of triple A's, and single A's would just move up to double A's.
See, what'll happen, Kyle, is that gaming right now is a popular mainstream thing, and that's why it's such a massive thing. All of the big companies are going to collapse into themselves in this ginormous vacuum of maelstrom of blood and guts. And everyone will start hating video games. We'll go back to the satanic panic era where it's like, you play games? What are you, some kind of incel?
Demon! Oh my god. Oh man. Video game being as mainstream as it is has brought so much when you're actually inside the industry and you're trying to find people to work with. Like, now it's no longer, like, impossible. You can find people. There are people everywhere. And so that's awesome. But the one downside is the video games we get sometimes are so... It's so hard to find the ones you really want to see because oversaturation. There's so much crap dumped onto our laps every single day. And you got to sift through it because you don't have so much money. It's like, well, which game should I buy? And it's like, like... And if you make the wrong purchase, I mean, you can refund it if you within a certain time frame. But, like, say you buy the new Men of War game, right? Instead of the Company Heroes game. But turns out the Company Heroes game was better than the Men of War game. And now you're just like, fuck. Oh, man.
It's all such a fantastic thing, isn't it? Sadness.
It's wonderful.
All right, let's do some super chats, and then we'll go on to why Nintendo is about to be sued for sexual harassment, discrimination, general abuse, and probably one or two examples of rape, because why not?
Rap is what we do for fun, right? Yes?
Rap. Yes.
Don't say brap.
Rap.
No.
Rap. Mark to Shame says, GW toys are dangerous for children. A recall has been issued for the Christmas squig as a choking hazard. I did see that. I did see that, yes.
That's what you get for appealing to kids, you idiots.
Well, here's the thing, Con. It's entirely fine for these things to happen to Games Workshop. And in fact, I hope they choke many children with their silly toys. Because that'll be what they deserve.
They're silly toys. I mean, that is true.
A few children are going to have to suffer. A few children will literally have to die gurgling on squig toys, but, you know.
What is a few dead children if not to protect our hobby, chat? Like, oh my god.
In the name of progress.
The name of progress. Oh god, that's
Utopia is
beautiful.
just one dead child away. It'll be fine.
We'll just keep saying that after the body count keeps getting higher from the dead kids. Oh,
All of them
Jesus.
found mysteriously with a squig in their mouth. Just like, that's weird.
Little Games Workshop logo sticker on it or something.
Like, it's been months since they recalled these. How does this just keep happening? Progress.
Arch is like, sacrifices have to be made. He breaks into people's houses and stuff their stockings full of squid toys.
The little child wakes up next morning, looks into the stocking, and just screams in horror. It's a single plushie down there.
Dead. Oh, man.
Oh, well. Progress, Kyle. Progress.
I mean, see, chat. The thing is, people are remarkably forgetful. After, a few months, people are like, what? Dead kids? Who gives a shit?
Not sure.
People move on fast because you can't be forever caught up in, sad times. You gotta move on with your
The
life.
mountains of dead children and the choking hazards.
Listen, I'm trying to spin this propaganda wheel, but you're not helping. He's like, look at all the dead bodies, Gibbs. It's like, no, tarp over them.
When they see what their sacrifice brought us, they will understand.
Oh, it's actually terrible.
And you know what they say, Kyle? Nobody's ever really gone.
Oh, Games Workshop will write them into the lore. Oh, that's so sweet and heart-touching. That's so fucking awful when you think about it. They write little children into a grim, dark setting to die brutally in fiction. Not only in real life did they die horribly, now they're going to die horribly in a fictitious world. Oh, no.
In the 41st millennium, squig choke on you.
It's terrible.
All right, that was an entirely normal side tangent. It's fine, it's not a problem. Desert Hamster says, you still refuse to get TB on for no reason. Well, the reason is a good one, namely that it's illegal to dig up corpses in most civilized countries.
You know what? I'll task India with drawing a skeleton with like rotted flesh in the shape of TB, and we'll put them up on the stream. And then we'll just be like, so what do you think of this? And when there's just dead silence. Oh my god. I have a dark
What
sense
we
of humor.
could do is we just bring on Aldog and we
have him stream himself.
Yes, we do that. We do that because he looks exactly like TB.
He fucking does. Aldog he looks like Total Biscuit. Like every time like he showed people his face, like his little bald head, like I'm like, are you not dead? He looks exactly like Total Biscuit. Give him the get up and like train his voice, and I think we'll be golden.
Mm-hmm.
Dogerton.
Yeah, the voice will need some work, but everything else.
Dogerton has a great voice for doing content creation. He's just incredibly fucking lazy.
That's true.
Little bastard. You heard me, Doge. Doge, I know you're listening because you watched these.
Cyber Anime Alien says, are you aware that if you watch a YouTube video on Brave web browser, the dislikes are somehow still visible, like they were before the change? Ah yes, this change. We're going to remove the dislike to protect the small creators. I can't help but notice that dislikes are still visible on all of the channels I normally watch. Like,
oh, they're slowly rolling it out.
Their dislikes. I've still got my dislikes.
Here, hold on. If I pull up Lotus Eaters, I don't think I'll see it because I think it's actually slowly being rolled out. Let's pull up one of the videos. Yep, I can't see them. I can't see any dislikes anymore. They're gone for me. It seems to be regional. I guess
it only happened to certain people.
Well, no, I think you're going to get it. I think it's just slowly being rolled out for every server. Because, like, the European servers might not all have it yet. I'm not sure how it works behind the scenes.
Wow. Well.
Get to them supers, boy. We're gonna get buried.
Jesus is here, look busy. Without spaces, that's really difficult to read. Hail Arch and Kibbs. Have an anime recommendation for you. Ghost Stories, the English dub full of hilarious non-PC jokes. The voice actors were given free reign. There's a joke compilation on YouTube. Oh,
that's actually quite funny.
Ruining anime.
I have seen it. They just they make it up, and it's just basically a parody. They will never make something like that again, though. I can tell you that.
The ruination of anime. I think this is disgusting, and I don't think you should encourage it. Reverend Norse says, Arch, would a blank / pariah feel the same disgust toward another blank pariah as a normal or a psycho would, or would they actually get along like each other? I wouldn't imagine that they would feel any particular way, since they're literally isolated from, well, the warp and what makes people usually feel uncomfortable. So, probably wouldn't be affected. Probably. Then again, it's difficult to say for sure in a universe where the Emperor has a wife. Wolf Warrior says, greetings, friends. Me and my bro got a 3D printer, so I'm a bit broke now. Would you invite to a cast, comments like Gamza, or maybe Kill Team Hungary? Maybe.
Kill Team Hungary.
Such filthy Warhammer creators, though. Dying niche, yes.
Yeah, fuck Warhammer creator. What are we, GW?
Yes.
That was a good joke. We do need to vet people we bring on, though. That's my opinion. Arch may not agree with it, but that's what we're gonna do, chat. None of those stinky, slimy people allowed on. None of those filthy backstabbers. See, if I was in charge, you wouldn't have gotten so many knives in your back, Arch. I'm telling you, you need a handler.
God should not be in charge of many things.
But you is one of those things. Somebody has to look out for him. Otherwise, he'll just be like, I'm going to trust Adolf Hitler. It's like, Arch, don't.
Hitler gets a lot of shit, but he was a vegan, so he can't be all bad, I guess.
I think that's exactly why he was so bad. He's like, I'm so hungry for meat, but I don't want to eat meat. You know what would really solve this appetite? Ovens. Lots of ovens. Oh, no.
See, that's not necessarily a bad point, although rudely put, I gotta say.
No one said he was a nice guy. Actually, no, I'm sure the people that he was friends with said he was a nice guy. I just think everyone else might not think that.
Actually, he's seen a little bit of a resurgence on the Twitters in the form of black nationalism, who would like to quote him, which is a fascinating turn of events. But hey.
I mean,
interesting. Mark Shame says, Arch and Kibbs forged alliance forever stream. When? Possible Nomad faction as well. That video game is not to be played.
We should play the co-op campaign. I'm going to keep saying it. The co-op campaign's quite good. It's quite good.
No.
You will break eventually.
I don't think I will. See, now I just want to play more Anno, because we've finally gotten to a cool point in that game, and I'm kind of having fun, and then you're like, we can only do this a little bit once a week, though, because I'm gay.
Well, because I need to make sure Arch and Bubbles are sharing cities. These two Norwegians are both grumpy, salty little fucking mountain monkeys. And the fact that Bubbles willingly just popped over to play with Arch, and they're sharing the islands, and they're working together, like, oh my god, it's the most adorable thing, chat.
That's because Bubbles is homosexual. And so long as he just stays out at sea and lets me worry about running the busy, that's fine.
That's fine. They're an old married couple already. It's beautiful. Romantic, even.
Maranga2 says, I'll send you a screenshot on Discord of the Autism RPG you inspired me to run. Last super me until you do a video on Saga, which you should, as I want to save up to buy a hurdy-gurdy. Whatever that is.
Oh, it's an instrument. Remember we were playing Sea of Thieves That's the one with the strings and the crank. The hurdy-gurdy.
That's weird.
It's a interesting instrument. I didn't even really know about it that well. It's not very popular. You can only do it can do certain things all right, but some songs, like, it's very selective with what it's good with. It's like the Air Who.
We were thinking about maybe doing some tabletop simulator stuff where we played some of the tabletop games suggested, so maybe. Mark Shamed, realistic RTS AI. You order a unit to move to certain death, and it stops and says no.
That's
Then
a
you
fucking
shoot it.
unlawful order. And you're like, no, it isn't. It's only unlawful if we lose the war.
Literally. Gum Marok. Some of these names are made just to annoy me, I'm sure. Arch, have you heard of Cephas Protocol? It's a game where you manage a zombie outbreak as a militarized version of the CDC. Despite the early access junk, I found it to be pretty interesting. I have not.
That sounds interesting. What was it called?
Well, can't.
I'll try to pull it up on stream. I'm just going to show them what he was talking about. Chat, what was it called?
Let's see.
Tell me! Tell me!
God. God, that does look like some hard junk.
Oh yeah, I guess I should mention this. Everyone should check out the Steam sales if there's games you're interested in. Now's the time to pick them up.
RTS Classic Company has World in Conflict. Okay. So you've got a little bit of a, like, RTS, you set up the dudes, I can do cover, and you've also got an experimental first-person mode. It's an interesting concept. Again, yes, it looks like it has some heavy-duty jank. Yeah, it might be interesting in another, year or two.
Hold it up. I mean, the idea of like a zombie apocalypse game was kind of cool. There was this one game where you could actually control the zombies, and that was quite interesting. And then the developer abandoned it, and I was like, no. See, zombie RTSs are an absolutely fascinating thing because if they do logistics right, like, it could be so interesting. If they would only do them right.
Only if. Brett, a third time, have you ever heard of a Slavic game that isn't kicking your teeth in? I haven't heard of many Slavic games. I just assume they hate fun, frankly. That's why the Balkans are the Balkans. And Hagnar the Viking, will we ever have a Pike and Shot era game? No. Literally, no.
It's not entirely impossible. A Pike and Shot game, it depends on what you want. Like, do you want an RTS, a turn-based? Turn-based is always going to be easier to make than an RTS.
First-person goddamn shooter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, entirely doable. Just make it so the player plays as an officer and they control their unique formation. But that's going to run into some serious problems in terms of, like, which to progression, where do you go from there?
The answer is no. Again, just no. There you go. No, but nobody becomes disappointed because everyone knows it's impossible.
See, they had to indulge fantasy elements in their zombie game because it was like, realistically, what's just to stop them from using like an Abrams tank to just clear out a zone? Because they could just run over everything and just shoot them, or use remote-controlled drones. That's the problem with zombies. They don't really make sense anymore.
Yeah, but sooner or later the zombies will gain superpowers and will just flip the tank on at the roof and just be like, rawr.
Rawr. They kind of have to be.
Sanguine says, Arch feet picks when? When Kyle starts taking them, I guess.
I guess if I have to.
There you go. I should buy some safety. And Nami's husband. Hi, Arch. Please search Salmas and Nami on Google. Thank you. But it's on Google, though. I'll search this on DuckDuckGo. That's as far as I'm willing to go. And it shows me me lesbian hentai, which is beneficial. And not something Kyle will pull up on any stream anywhere, no?
I could pull up the hentai of you and Bubbles that we had made.
No, that's illegal too.
That's illegal too.
Hitomi Uzaki donates 50 Mexican pesos and mentions something about the sharpest fangs. Boag. You can't fool anyone. Evolved Potato, late again, so another pencil for the ANCAP cat trap. What is it for this time? I think Cal likes being widened. We weren't late today. Your clock was wrong.
Yeah.
Black 1917, Squick and Hail Arch Christ, our Lord and Savior. Kyle, why you no like IDW Chan? It's a good question. Why don't you like IDW Chan?
Firstly, I never said I don't like her. I just don't know anything about her as a fictitious character. All I know is that she's a little special, that somebody made a lot of her because they wanted more of her. And I only know that because of what Arch told me. Because he knows more lore about that. Oh, that's one we should do again. Hold Fast. That was a fun game. They recently added Italy. It's a very special game.
Really? All you need to know about IDW Chan comes from the memes.
Hold Fast
That's all you need to know.
Oh, it does have first person. I only played it in third person. Arch, we need to play Hold Fast again. Also, we should play Foxhole again. Arch didn't really warm to Foxhole the first time. But I think if I break him, he will eventually.
Won't be far too busy playing Ark for a while. Far too busy, Kyle.
Taming
Evil
dinosaurs.
Potato again. Am I the only one that just wants a game where you design your own impenetrable fortress with overlapping fields of fire, heavy gun placement, and pillboxes on pillboxes that kill thousands? Kind of like you built your own wracks. The defensive genre isn't done enough where you just build stupid shit. Like there was that game, Toy Soldiers? Was that the one where you were playing like World War II, World War One?
It's World War One, and the second one was the Cold War. That one's really good. Toy Soldiers, yeah. It's by Signal Studios.
Those are pretty cool. Yes, so nice defensive games would be a lot of fun. But see, they're also too much fun, and developers these days don't necessarily enjoy their players having fun. It's important to understand,
Yeah. I mean, tower defense games are really fun, and there's so much to do. Toy Soldiers was awesome because you could take control of like the helicopters, you could call in AC-130s and use tactical nukes to defend your, toy box from the filthy communists that were invading. I like the Cold War one the most. Oh, then you get your action hero, dude. Yeah, no, it was really fun, and it had co-op as well, which was fun. Poor Signal Studios, though. They went I think they're still around, or somebody bought their name. They accidentally, they did a big stupid, and they were like, yeah, Ubisoft, let's sell out to Ubisoft. And then Toy Soldiers War Chest, which was made with Ubisoft, was such utter dog shit that they pulled the plug. That was when I was a Steam curator, and Ubisoft literally asked me to play the game again, begging. That was so sad. I did. It was still shit.
You were fooled.
They
Your
did
weakness
release.
tricked you.
They did release a remastering of the first Toy Soldiers, though I'm not sure if that one did well. It's mixed, and not that many people tried it. Only 54. Wow. 54 reviews in total. Like, I'm half tempted to try it just because I love Toy Soldiers so much. But that score doesn't give me a lot of confidence. That gives me, like, how much is it right now? $30, not on sale? Fuck no. I already have the old ones. Why should I do that? I don't know, chat. That's looking kind of sus. No, I didn't say that. Suspicious. Arch did this.
Kyle, it's far too late to try and pretend that you're not a homosexual at this point, so just embrace it. We haven't been seeing enough breed kibs lately. You need to get back on that, everyone.
Oh yeah, you can manually take control of the turrets too. Yeah.
Now, next of our little topic today. This is the funny thing, right? Because Sony first came out, and along with I think EA did so as well. Or no, it wasn't EA. It was Microsoft, wasn't it? The Xbox nonsense, yeah. Where they're looking at Activision Blizzard. Oh, you vile sexual harassment company! How dare you! We would never inappropriately touch our female employees. And within 24 hours later, Sony is being sued for, well, the usual.
Terrible.
And now Nintendo is joining in as well, which you all know what this means. You all know what this means. Soon there will be many, many, many sexual harassment charges against Nintendo. And it will be funny too.
This I doubt. No, I'm kidding. I think it will happen. So wait, should we do that too? Here at my indie studio, there are no sexual harassment charges. And then it comes out, Carlos is like, he touched me. He would, that Latvian bastard. He's finally getting his revenge.
He would. He actually would. Because this is... They know this now. Like, the woman who launched the complaint against Sony, for example. I really like that, because it happened so soon thereafter that you know this has been prepared and planned for a little bit. Particularly also as in the civil suit, not a criminal suit, civil, of course, class action suit. I know this has happened to many other women. Would somebody else like to come forward and help me steal all of their money?
Together, you and I will rule the legal sphere.
We will become millionaires of Sony's. And it's because they don't fight back. Like, they've already virtue signaled, so they're already kind of screwed here, because they've already said, like, oh, no, if this happened to us, we would take it very seriously. Well, it's happened to you now, so, what are you going to do about it? And suddenly, no, we must have proper investigations. We can't leap to conclusions now. Oh, I see.
Oh, we can't jump the gun. Innocent until proven guilty. The usual. Oh man, see, that's the thing about our society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. You are innocent until proven otherwise, because why should we treat you any differently until then? And that's fair. That's more than fair. And now our society is very much like the mere accusation is condemnation enough to the point where you can't do anything. Your life is ruined. The damage is like done once they've done it. That accusation, there needs to be harsher punishments for people who falsely accuse people of like actual crimes when they go to the police or whatever, or news outlets. Because if you do that, you could potentially ruin somebody's life.
And the media needs repeated beatings over this too. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the a certain Kyle, not this Kyle, another Kyle, who went on adventures in a nearby neighborhood.
As we do.
Yes. Because he has, of course, been basically accused of all kinds of shit. The shit he was found not guilty of. So you don't get to accuse them of it after not being found guilty. Amongst others by the President Litch in the White House. I believe he was even going to try and launch a suit against Biden over that. The problem is the president is actually straight up immune to lawsuits, with the exception of like some very, very, very specific circumstances. So we'll see how that works out. But right now, by and large, there's almost no repercussions for saying crazy shit, lying about someone, which is it's a bit of an issue.
Yep, that is.
And of course, again, it is because of the feedback loop you see here. Everyone uncritically reports it. That what was it? Wall Street Journal was that the one that released the allegations for against Blizzard. How Bobby Kotick totally knew about all of the terrible things that had gone on in his company. No evidence, like secret internal documents, comrade. Secret documents.
Mm-hmm.
Secret fucking documents. They're starting to rip off War Thunder, Kyle. That's how bad this is now.
Oh my god. Don't bring that up again.
Secret
I'm trying to
documents.
forget it. I'm trying to forget it. Ah, man. When it comes to that shit, though, like the whole Bobby Kotick thing, I just remember thinking, like, when they were accusing Activision of that, I'm like, this is a power play. Internal power play. Whether it's just for money, whether it's to out Bobby Kotick, because for all we know, intents and purposes, Bobby Kotick could have some serious enemies behind the scenes. And as somebody who's worked with a lot of mega corporations and larger corporations, there is a lot of different political things going on, corporate politics going on behind the scenes, different factions vying for power or resources over the other. So, honestly, I really can't feel like, oh, he's totally guilty. I'm like, it's probably somebody who's really mad at him, or he's in the way and they want his position, or he blocked a promotion of somebody they wanted or something and this is their revenge. Like, it could be as petty and petulant as that.
It could be. It very much so could be. There's also Bobby probably isn't entirely free of skeletons in his closet as well. I did like, because there's too many stories that he has apparently settled out of the blue. Like, okay, he's accused of harassing a flight attendant randomly on a private jet that he co-owns, and the person of the flight attendant was complaining against wasn't even Bobby Kotick. Okay, this is a weird thing to settle.
How is this related?
Yep. So, and plus, here's the thing. Activision Blizzard are bad people, Kyle. They are vile, disgusting, xenophile people. Yes, and they should be punished. They deserve the bad things that are happening to them. And in fact, the entire industry does. This is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. See, we're complaining about, there's no accountability for false accusations. That's fine, so long as all the false accusations happen to people I don't like.
Don't worry about it, Arch. Oh, this is the state of the industry, and this is why you kind of gatekeep. Like, honestly, when it comes to, can you show us all of your Steam games, S. Riley? I can't show you Arch's, but I can show you mine, because I'm streaming. I just had Steam open in the background, just scrolling through. I don't know, like, when it comes to that, like, you do have to curate the people you hire, and that's what I've done with my team now. I tried, initially, with just hiring anybody. I was like, if you have the skills for it, awesome. I don't care about your politics. That's your private business, as it should be. The problem is the minute they find out that, once Arch did his goddamn collaboration with Sargon, it fucked me out of so many people. But honestly, I look at that as a saving grace, because those people would have flip-flopped on me on the minute something went fucking sour. And then that opened my eyes to the whole situation. You have to be careful who you hire, because these people will not only throw you under the bus, they'll steal from you. They'll steal from you. They'll lie to you. They'll do that and a lot more. And they'll try to, dismantle the project. That's why you have contracts. You sign things. And if any of them do violate any of those contracts, you take them to court and you sue them to oblivion till they're literally gone. Oh, man. It's such a terrifying thing. Like, it's like you just want to make a video game, right? And you so happen to think politically or religiously or whatever, this or that, and you think like people will respect that. Nope. No. They will not. They most definitely will not. It's kind of tragic, in my opinion, that the world has sort of become this way. And I don't know if it was always like this, because I was never really in the industry, But I'd like to think that it wasn't always like that. That might be just a fantasy, though. What do you think, Bloundy?
Not to this degree, at the very least. And you can see this with the Activision Blizzard thing, too. Because people realized that this was an effective strategy, which is why it's suddenly being done all over the place now. That's not a coincidence. and it's happening to Activision Blizzard, and suddenly you're seeing they're trying it at Paradox, they're trying it at Ubisoft, they're trying it at Sony, they're trying it all of these companies now, coinky dinkily at the same time. They've realized that this is a good way to try and earn some money. And it's because the people who work there don't give a shit anymore. These aren't the little cool, gaming studios of yesteryears where there was a bunch of people who wanted to make a video game, who wanted to make something cool, and they were making a company, and they were all working together because it was their company, damn it. Yeah, there's an owner, but you're all working on the project together. Now, it's not like that anymore. You're making a product, and you probably don't even know what you're working on for a product. I don't remember where there was an interview where one of the art guys for some Ubisoft game, I think it was asked, like, hey, okay, so you worked on this part of the game. How did that feel to be a part of making this video game? And the dude was like, like, I didn't even know I was working on it. I was just making barrels and shit.
Yeah, that was wasn't that one of the Elder Scrolls dev? That you hear that all the time, where people aren't passionate about it, where people just don't care. They're like, it's just a job done. And to be fair, it's understandable given the circumstances, but you kind of lose that game when you look at that game. It's like, it's not made by people who care about it. It's made by people who just want a paycheck, and it shows. A game that's made with passion will very clearly show over a game that's made with just budget.
Yep.
Tragic. Actually tragic, though. Because look at
that's
the
something
Call of Duties.
A lot of people need to know today as well. A lot of people went into gaming because that was going to be their passion job. Like, I want to make video games. 98% of those people are modeling barrels in a back room somewhere right now.
Yep. Just making barrels.
Mm-hmm. And they're really sad about it. And they're saying, like, we weren't supposed to be here. This is not how it was supposed to be. And yet.
But yet it is.
And then eventually they realize, hey, there's a way out of this. It's called suing the shit out of the company for touching me inappropriately. What are they going to do? Prove me wrong?
How do you prove somebody didn't touch you?
Yeah. How do you prove somebody didn't touch you?
Arch touches me in naughty places, chat. Like, how are you gonna disprove that? You can't.
Yeah. Well, the company's gonna have a very hard time.
Well, actually, you could with like the being like, well, Arch is clearly in fucking Norway, and you're in the United States. But when you're working in the same studio, how do you disprove that? Like, you can't. There's nothing. There's no recourse. The mere accusation is condemnation enough, and there's nothing you can do to say that, even if you didn't, like, how do people know? They won't, because how do you prove somebody touched you? Like, just simply
and in
touched.
a civil suit, you don't even need to convince the judge, the so-called the legal expert. All you need to do is convince the jury to give you Sony's money.
Yep.
Nice. It's a beautiful scam. We should have thought of this earlier, frankly. This is how we could have kept Games Workshop without seeing them succumb to cringery. We should have been inside of Games Workshop and then threatened to sue them for sexual harassment.
It would have worked.
It's a true tragedy that we didn't think of this. Now, I will say, though, that perhaps Nintendo will be able to avoid at least some of this, because the Japanese have a very different work culture than we do. Like, in Japan, you're a little cog, okay? You can be thrown out on the street awfully quickly, and you're made painfully aware of this fact. So perhaps company loyalty is in a bit higher stock over there. Who knows?
Just a pinch, huh? Oh, man.
Very, very possible. Oh, poor Sony. Poor Nintendo.
But honestly, really poor them, They're still doing the exclusivity thing, and I think Microsoft just announced they're going to do exclusive things too. Well, see, it's a partial victory because Microsoft will put it on PC, but again, the age of exclusivity should be actively shunned by everyone universally, regardless. Even if I hate Sony, nothing should be exclusively, on anything. Because that's putting gamers and game companies last, and it's putting mega corporations that run like Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft, it's putting them first. And that, at the end of the day, is a lose for everyone.
Incorrect, Kyle. So long as it comes to PC, the little console peasants can eat each other and tear each other to bits. That's fine. Not a single human will suffer.
My God. It'll be better when...
Not a single human will be victimized.
But won't they?
They won't.
New Satisfactory update. I know because I scrolled past it. He's like, what the fuck?
All right, let's do some more of the super chats then. This one will be a more on-time one from back in the day when we figured like these will be short. Not having the disturbance presence of a random person in here speaking words and things.
Not yet, anyways.
So, I swear to God, Sai Star. Hey, kid. Kib? Kid? Have you seen a YouTuber turned developer Blue Drake 42 was so sick of the shooters, i.e. Battlefield 2042, becoming streamlined garbage he's making his own? Maybe future guests can relate. Take my munmuns. Blue Drake 42. Kyle, investigate now.
Blue Drake 42. Sorry, chat. We're done scrolling down. Oh, Stormrise. Creative Assembly made that. They killed them. What's his name? Blue Drake 42.
Yes.
See, the thing with a lot of people like making games is one of the biggest okay, that's cool that he wants to make a game that no one else has made, or not necessarily. I don't know anything about that. He wants to make a game because he's upset with the direction the industry's going. That's good. The question is, how long has he been doing this? How much does he know about doing this? Has he been doing it for a while? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about him. He has a dedicated first-person shooter channel. First-person shooter games, honestly, is one of those markets where they're always improving. They're always evolving, and they've been advancing ever since like their creation. And that's good. But my question is okay, how much of this drive is actually genuine? Because a lot of people will be like, I want to make a game because fuck this thing. And then they'll start doing it and they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize, once their rage is over, there's nothing behind it, or their anger and disappointment. You got to have a lot of willpower because making your game is not easy. I've been doing it for quite a few years now. And it's you need to be willing to sacrifice money. You need to be sacrificing time, and you got to realize that there are things you're not going to be able to do anymore because this game is going to be a commitment. Making a game or making a book or an IP is a commitment, and you need to respect that commitment and actually put forth the effort, time, and resources to actually make it realized. Chat, that's mean. They said only 4.7 hours on Subverse Kibs. Not great stamina. Coomer Kibs. Thing is,
true.
Firstly, 4 points. I just didn't like the game. The only reason why I helped kickstart it or whatever it was, or was it the patron? I don't remember. Was purely because I think that those types of games shouldn't be shunned anymore. Because developers that make hentai games or lewd games or stuff like that are shunned in the West. I think that's wrong. Because they are just as valid a developer as anyone else. But,
more so, actually.
Well, not more so. They're just another developer.
Yeah, more so.
Arch, you can't do this. Arch is like,
I can.
They're equally valid. But either way.
More so.
As a game, I think the gameplay is garbage. The tactics gameplay makes me want to blow my brains out.
The tactics gameplay is a little suicide-inducing, but the shmup elements are fine, even for someone who's never played those damn things before.
I honestly wish they'd just have a button to remove the gameplay and just play the story, so I could like listen to it as like a comic or something. I don't know. Fucking like.
Goddamn games journalist, Kyle.
Some games aren't worth playing, in my opinion, but that's a highly subjective matter. Like, for instance, some people absolutely love Dark Souls. They love it to death. When I look at Dark Souls, I'm like, I think of clunky controls, and I just think of the game's kind of boring. Because it's just not my kind of game.
If you don't stop being a game journal right now...
You can't dismiss legitimate criticisms just because one fucking... Just because one retarded games journal fucking... See, that's why I hate games journalists so fucking much. Because anytime you try to give that game any sort of critique or criticism, people are like, get good. And it's like, the problem isn't getting good. I can beat the bosses, whatever. The problem is I just think the gameplay's kind of crappy. Oh, you can't even complain about it because people are like, you're just a game journal. Good. See, look, get good.
It's valid criticism, Kyle. If you're shit at the game, you should...
I'm not shit at the game. I just don't like the game. There's a completely... I understand the game mechanics. I just don't like... When I play a hack and slash game, I like to chop people up into little pieces, right? When I play Dark Souls, you know, it's sluggish, and I don't like that sluggish feel. Like, things don't feel very responsive. And I get why the game's designed behind that, because the design is trying to be like, okay, you have to kind of think about when you attack, and you have to read the motives. It's kind of a bit more like Simon Says, which is really what it is. You read the attacks that they're going to do, and then they telegraph it, and then you counterplay that. But that's just not really my cup of tea. I actually like Sekiro a bit more because it's more on the aggressive side. And Sekiro actually made me go like, actually, I kind of like the idea of like a Dark Souls-y kind of game, but I just wish you could be more attacky. And in Sekiro, you're much more aggressive and chopping things up.
Were you saying something? I tuned out the last 5 minutes of game journalism.
No, I'm just enjoying chat and how engaged they are. They're more engaged than you, Blondie. It's like, no.
Games journalism, no.
They're not even. They're like, it's understandable. They actually get it. See, if you just have a conversation.
No, they
They know. Chat understands. Super based Kibbs. Yes! Take that, Arch. Because you weren't paying attention, Kibbs has been able to persuade chat to his viewpoint. Or at least get them to understand it.
I don't really believe this.
Now,
back on topic, before you started games journalisting all over my fucking stream, you filth. The Blue Drake guy is he's working on a tactical community-funded shooter that will be free when released, which is cool. It's also a tactical shooter, which means I will never have time in my fucking life to play those hardcore, sweaty fucking cumsock games. But hey, other people get to enjoy their things, okay? It's fine.
I need to get you to play Halo properly. He hasn't, chat. He hasn't.
All I hear is games journalism noises again. He's from Kentucky. Kentucky. That's a nation.
He's going to give me Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's a dumb joke.
Glow in the Dark says, imagine when a Kibbs? Yeah, I like Kibbs. Imagine when a kid eats some super glue when working on Warhammer models. Would they get high, then have a nightmare about living in 40k? No, if they eat enough super glue, I'm probably sure they're just dead, honestly. Don't think it's conducive to dreaming at all. I'm pretty sure super glue is toxic.
Is it?
Presumably. Sand Doom, tribute to the Great Horned One. Arch, I know you are burnt on Total War Warhammer, but what are your thoughts on Nurgle army design and animation? Can't tell you. I haven't watched it.
What animation? Oh, the what's it called? The Ogre Kingdom thing?
Well, no, the Nurgle one he asked about here specifically.
Oh, the Nurgle one. I don't care either. Like, Fuck. Like I can't bring myself to watch it. Arch and I have talked about this several times, and neither of us are like, we're like, eh. Like it's Total War. Total War has become synonymous with garbage and shovelware now. Like they've ruined the brand, they've ruined the franchise. When I think Total War, I think boring battles with uninteresting gameplay and a god-awful campaign map with awful sieges. After I watched the Siege rework video, I think the last ounce of care left my soul. I was like, this isn't a rework,
Yeah.
this is just garbage.
We've made deeper walls. Okay, well.
Okay, excuse me while I cut myself. Excuse me. You're actually depressing me, CA. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's a little tragic. Like I love Total War, I really do, but Jesus Christ, I just cannot get interested. And it's painful too, because it's Total War Warhammer, but it should
be your thing.
Warhammer 3. It's the third full-priced DLC pack in a game that has several $100 worth of DLC already. Like I can't. I just can't.
Yeah, me neither. I tried Toy. I did Troy for a couple streams just because I'm like, okay, let's see what the Bulgarian studio has to offer. And even that is boring. It's all the same. Like there's no soul behind it anymore. There's no anything. Troops don't matter, like in the same sense that they used to. Like positioning tactics don't really matter. Cavalry charges just feel kind of floaty when you hit each other in the rear. Nothing has any punch to it. You know, there isn't little details like putting archers on the high ground in Medieval 2, and especially on mountain battles, they could shoot like on the other side of the map. They could, because the, you know, gravity and shit, and like they could physics that bullshit to the other side. Oh man, it's so annoying.
No, I just can't. I just can't. I'm not gonna fucking review that game. I'm not, because it's Creative Assembly. They're gonna remain crap for a very long time. They're going to need a very rude awakening at some point, but it's not gonna happen. I can review it. I can point out that it's a $60 expansion for a DLC pack, and it won't work. It'll just, all of the
People
fanboys
will-
just go,
yep.
"Are you can't be mean to it?" Like it's what it's done.
It's a Warhammer. I hate this one. This is an example of Warhammer tabletop fans actually ruined my favorite franchise. Because what they basically did is they came in and they would shut down arguments anytime it was like, look at this faction pack. It's like it's got half the units and it's $20. And they're missing units from the roster of the Beastmen. Like they're gonna they add DLC on top of DLC. You need to buy multiple games to complete your Beastmen roster. Otherwise, you can't complete it. And on top of that, like, not only are they breaking them up into smaller sections, but the people defending will be like, well, it's not as much as a tabletop armor. Shut the fuck up. Get out. This isn't tabletop. This is a video game. I don't want to hear, it's not as expensive as tabletop. I don't fucking care. Like, tabletop, your plastic garbage can go burn in a fire. Like, this is a video game. That doesn't adhere to the fact that you're buying tons of models and fucking crappy overpriced paint to paint some garbage miniature. Like, this is an actual video game. Like, they can't charge you for that. And on top of that, they don't have to worry about logistics, manufacturing costs, because it's digitally released. Like, all they have to do is just pump it out on Steam platform, update it, upload the files up there. Steam distributes it for them. Done.
Calm down there, games journalist.
Oh, now I criticize Total War makes you a game journal. This just keeps running.
And it will continue to expand. Cyber Anime Alien says, for me, I can't see dislikes on Chrome and Firefox, but I can see them on Brave, so if it's regional, why does my browser affect it? Also, have you played Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence? That sounds like an anime I watched once.
I have it. I played for like 20 minutes, I think.
It looks cringy. And there's no waifus involved. Yeah, I think I hate it already. It looks like it has dudes in it in like a Total War setting, which is cool, but it looks very cringe. And here's the worst part: all of the characters are the correct gender. Like I reject these things out of hand now, unless they're all gender swapped waifus. Asian entertainment is just not worth contemplating anymore.
It's true.
It actually does look kind of cool.
Is Steam not accurately track the hours I have played in games? Because I'm scrolling down here and I'm like, I played that game way more than 3 hours. A lot of these, actually. That's weird. Maybe it's because I was in offline mode or something.
So says the game journalist. I've totally played this more, guys, believe me. Yeah.
Age of Empires 3, I beat the whole game. No way in hell I beat it in 3 hours.
Good job.
I speedrun that when I just didn't remember it.
Michael VPS says, Arch City Norwegian, review Foxhole, the game. But it's a game that takes a long time to play, though.
Foxhole is actually really fun. What we should do is we should start right when the war starts. So we start like early, like a little bit before World War One, and then play through the entirety of the war, because it lasts about a month. And by the end of it, you have like late World War II tech and like atomic weapons being used.
Kyle, I'm not going to spend a fucking month playing this video game, Kyle. What the fuck?
Arch, you would like Foxhole, chat. Foxhole is so cool. You can build trenches, bunkers, like the entire player-driven economy. Like, there's two factions waging eternal war against each other. It's like PlanetSide, but on the autism spectrum, like, off the charts. You have to advance technology. You have to bring up logistics trucks. You have to bring up gas mask filters. I remember we were in the front lines once, and we had gas masks, but no filters. So, every time they'd use gas attacks, we just died. Because our logistics were cut off because there was dudes, attacking our logistics line, so the supply trucks couldn't make it to the front line. It's
Sounds
pretty
like
cool.
You suck at that game, Kyle. And I don't see why I should side with you.
It's a good game. You can lose in a game and still have fun.
I don't know about that.
Arch, no.
I
Bad.
don't know about that.
You can.
Dark
you
Innovator says, would you have Overlord DVD on as a guest? Arch, he's the pop culture Hollywood equivalent of you regarding cancel culture and work stuff.
Who is his name?
Overlord DVD.
Overlord DVD? Arch is like, I'm not going to elaborate or confirm.
Well, yes. Now go find out, Kyle.
Overlord DVD. Overlord DVD. Google. Why? Because DuckDuckGo never finds me what I'm looking for. I hate you, Google.
This guy. I will admit, he talks an awful lot about Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy's still there. I've seen literally a meme of him, I think, where it's like just tons of Kathleen Kennedy videos and how she's about to be fired, and like 3 years later, Kathleen Kennedy's still there, still ruining Star Wars like a tick on a dog.
I don't know. We could always have a conversation. As long as he leaves
Kathleen
the suit
Kennedy
behind. He's a I'll give him this. He's an interesting individual. He's got his like little sort of thematic going on. You've seen him too. Yeah, he's got like this. It's like I don't know what the inspiration is directly. It's some sort of like he's a evil villain and of something like themed in what you'd say maybe the 60s sci-fi or something. 60s, 70s sci-fi.
Evil villain something. As usual,
I've watched a few
descriptions.
I've watched a few movies from that era with my dad, and I remember going like, that's just weird. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation. His name is Doomcock. Oh no.
It's a good name.
But honestly, I think the problem with like channels like this is they have to talk about what do you call it? They have to talk about shit they hate.
Well, you got to cover what is relevant.
I mean, that's his shtick. He's covering the Star Wars thing, and kudos to him because I'm too scared to even look at it. I don't want to see what they've raped anymore. I got tired of looking about it.
See, the whole Kathleen Kennedy thing, she's not going to get fired.
She's too well connected
at this point. Yes, she has way too much power within that company. And constantly talk about how she's totally going to get fired this time. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
She would have been fired a very long time ago if that would happen. Black Knight 17 says, yes, some poor children may die, but victory demands sacrifice, which is correct.
It's reference to Doctor Doom. A thing I don't know about. I'm not surprised.
Doctor Doom is from X-Men. Wait, no.
Marvel's Doctor Doom, apparently. See, the problem is I never really liked Marvel or DC. And I always found them annoying. And the kids who read them at school, I was like, you're beneath me. I'm kidding. I never thought that. But I never was showed interest. I remember I got Dark Horse comics from my grandparents all the time about Star Wars. I was like, these are mixed matched things, and none of the stories are cohesive because none of them are like, I get part 1 or part 3 of like an ongoing series. And I never really got into comics because of stuff like that. So I'd be like, meh. It's from Fantastic Four. Oh my god, now chat's debating with themselves. Listen, just because you nerds can't figure it out.
Fantastic Four. Oh, that was the one with Jessica Alba, naked. Yes. Yes?
I like how that's the thing Arch remembers.
Yes?
I don't know. That's kidding me. Superheroes are weak. They're for those that
yes,
are weak.
I just looked it up. It was that one. There you go. See, chat? I understand. I get this pop cultural comic thing. Now, I'm pretty good on games and tabletop 40k, but comics. See, I've read quite a few books in my time, but most of them never seem to get popular, which pisses me off. Like, if somebody were to do a First Law TV series, I'd be all over that bastard. But no, The Wheel of Time, they got to cover. Like, I read like 2 or 3 of those books 20 years ago. I'm not going to get back into that now. Screw you.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a while to get movies going. Logistics, infrastructure, getting the people set up. I mean, fuck, I'd like to have an anime made for my stuff. But that requires fuck tons of money, connections, people who know what they're doing. Otherwise, you could just have Netflix do it. And look at how good those turn out. Those are awful.
Xena Warrior Princess. Yes, that also needs a remake. I agree.
Oh, Xena Barcho Princess. Got him.
Glowy says, Kibbs would not stab you in the back, Art, but he will abuse you sexually abuse, I'm guessing. You should sue for sexual harassment to Nintendo. I will. Evil Potato, does it really matter if you're late or not? You get money, Kyle gets sounded by pencils he loves. Everyone is happy. Breed Kibbs. Yes. Good. We need more Breed Kibbs. It made him uncomfortable. More when we have guests, particularly, because they get confused too.
But why?
Nicholas Quitterstoff, Arch Warhammer, the George Lucas of Norway. You're cruel. We should make a list of people you want to invite on at some point, and then we'll have to send Bubbles to vet them and be like, do you have gender in your bio?
Bubbles is like one of those people that just figures stuff out because he's super Tismo. Like that time, I'm not going to go into detail, but there was this document that we found. And Bubbles was able to like look at, I don't know, he just knew what to do. He found the metadata and was able to, from there, to figure out where these people were from and accurately figure out the time zones of postings and stuff. He's our little autistic detective. Like, he'll find stuff. I guess him being a dog as Puggles kind of makes sense.
But then again, I don't know if pugs are necessarily good trackers.
Well, he'll be the exception, I guess. So we're crazy.
Doc Resurrect says, have you checked out Palworld? It's a realistic take in Pokemon. Please watch the trailer. Yeah, that was the one where they brutalized Pokemon in the wilds. See, that's a kawaii concept, because forcing animals to fight to their deaths for people's amusement it's certainly a thing. it's definitely a thing.
It is. I mean, the whole Pokemon universe is hilarious.
Yes.
Brutalizing animals. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Because it's a, what do you call it? Fictitious piece of fantasy.
You can also breed them and force them to work in factories, which, again, sounds quite nice.
Sounds like these Pokemon could solve a lot of world problems if we had them.
Ah, yes, you can enslave the animals. Then you can use them to fight people and brutally murder them. Good, good.
Yep.
Oh, you can make them crossbreed as well. Oh, wow, that's certainly something.
But why?
The video game seems almost cruel, yet at the same time... Ah, slavery.
What's not to love?
See, I do kind of like the idea. You know, you take something cute and fluffy and you make it kind of horrible. It's adorable in its own retarded way. It's... Oh. It's not in English. Utgivelsesdato.
Oh no. Savage
We
speak.
shall put that on our wish list, yes. Along with all of the many other things supposedly coming next year. I'm starting to become quizzical about this mystical next year, frankly.
What it means is 2023, but you don't want to tell people that, otherwise they don't care.
That's true. You need to kind of make them think that it's totally right around the corner or something.
Keep them interested. Or
A little cruel.
not at all.
Seeing as all of the screenshots are literally from the trailer, I don't necessarily have much hope in an immediate release date, so we'll see on that one.
Yeah.
We'll see. But like 1917, I can personally vouch for Gamza. Not only does he call out GW on their IBS, but he also refused to condemn Arch with no evidence and chose to stay neutral as he doesn't know much about him, based and chill dude. That's nice. I have spoken to him once in the past as well, and he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, he popped over on our server for like 5 minutes once. That was weird, but that happened.
Oh, he certainly could. We should make a nice big list of people we'd like to have on.
List of people to remove. Oh, no.
Or we can just recycle Sargon again and again. He's nice, fat and fluffy.
That's not a bad idea, actually. But when you say
But
recycle, that
this
just sounds so
time-
mean.
If one Pike and Shot game, make it in the same manner of Battleground or Holdfast. See, that would require way too much goddamn coordination, I think.
Holdfast is awesome. We should play more of that. It's so tismy. But when you work together as a team and you do like the little like ready, aim, fire, like it's fucking wonderful. Not to mention the community in that game is hilarious. And cancer. Very cancerous.
They can be funny. Yes, they can be very funny, in fact. Killer Kriegsman, are you just going through abhuman species, as I say it on YouTube, because I'd like to see more Imperial Guard lore videos in the future? Well, it's I've already covered the Imperial Guard in general, so it's a bit more like, okay, what do we do? Separate Imperial Guard things, I guess. But the abhumans are a nice little thing, because they're part of the IG. I just did Ratlings, because Ratlings were a fun little idea that I haven't covered yet. Plus,
I've already
it
heard
lets
people...
me to speak about hobbits.
Barch, you know, you have a problem, and let's admit it. Number one, you called them hobbits, and number two, you got them confused with the other thing, squats or something.
Didn't get them confused. I compared them to squats, you dumbass.
Like, but not according to some of the critics I've been hearing complain about it. Or just like, no, not possible. There's never mistakes names. Barch
Literally.
man. Mistake man. I mean, listen, you gotta be nice to Arch. He can't really say was it? How do you say it? Vehicles. Like, and Bubbles is it too. It's just a Scandinavian thing. They have hard times with certain words.
Kyle is a dumbass. And he makes words like that. And they're wrong. And he should be ashamed of himself.
It may sting, Barch, but sometimes the truth needs to sting a little bit.
They're hobbits, though. They're actual hobbits. And you can't really deny that they are hobbits, because even GW doesn't actually deny that they're hobbits. Lucky Lou 25 says, I was so happy to see my favorite YouTubers, Arch, Gibbs, and Razorfist. Gibbs is not a YouTuber, he's a VTuber. Last week on the same podcast, I just wished that there was slightly more smack talk between Arch and Razorfist for what he gave us as Battletech. Well, he was on his best behavior, knowing that his inferior mecha thing is just basically a rip-off of 1980s Japanese anime. You know, can't talk tough with that kind of background, really.
Arch is like, I can't see out of the hole I've dug. Where am I? He's hearing Chinese beneath him. He's like, oh, shit.
It's true, though. The Sharpest Fangs says, secret internal emails reveal that indeed Arch was right that Gibbs is a flaming homosexual. That is just jealous of Arch and Bub's new romance. Totally not a disco leak of being locked in the basement. See, that was the thing in Paradox 2. They fired their female CEO and suddenly a report leaks saying, sexual discrimination. I see. Well, that's a happy little coinky-dink.
You don't say.
Sometimes, Kyle, coincidences just
happen repeatedly.
Happens.
Again and again and again and again.
Mike Misley says, hope you two are doing well. Currently getting over a real bad flu. Also, I just want to say you guys help keep me sane in a world of lunacy. Man, how far gone are you if we're the sane ones? Ask yourself that.
It's like, oh shit. He hadn't realized this until now. It's over for him. It's over.
It's not easy to be this sane. But somebody has to do it. Sandum, who's more trusting, the average Skaven clan rat or AAA game developer studio employees? Just about the same, frankly. I don't really think there's necessarily any difference. Like, that's the problem with AAA games. They're just bad people. Game developers in general, they're either game journalists like Kyle, or they make terrible video games. Like
I think
Kyle
you're
might
just
eventually do.
mad. You're mad because when I explode, I'll be like, it's okay, little baby Barch. I'll carry you. Like I've been doing my entire life so far. So you can't say that.
You have been alive for about a weekend, so...
Arch needs to be
Dry
carried.
Feet says, old Xbox game I remember being pretty decent multiplayer zombie killer was Hunter, The Reckoning. Looking back, many first-gen Xbox games for the 2000s were pretty good or creative for what they were. The 2000s were the good years, man. Everything past that is not. That is the problem. We have gone too far. We need to go back somehow. Time machines will be an interesting invention.
We'll find out in a second, chat.
427 Arbuck says, indulgence money for I bought Necromunda hired gun on sale the other day. Ooh. Also messed up my username last time. I donated that or Arch read it as Arduke. I don't know. Arduk? 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 Arduk. Is it not the same word? Aardvark. Aardvark is a good word. It should be used more often. Yeah, sadly. Well, thank you very much, sir. Despite buying Necromunda hired gun, that was a terrible mistake. I hope you will never recover from. Black 1917 says, put Kyle in the box with Foxling. Oh, God, homosexuals everywhere.
The real question is why, Barch?
Because you're a furry, Kyle.
You're the furry, actually?
Incorrect.
He's like, that's not possible. I'm sorry,
Literally,
but I can't
correct.
cast that yet.
It is not possible. Ghislaine Maxwell says, hey Arch, I'm currently getting beaten up, starved, sleep deprived, and pat down. However, I'm quite surprised that I've not been Epstein or murdered. Actually, Epstein did not kill himself. Oh, poor Epstein. Keeps being brought back from the dead for these things.
These things happen.
Mark ashamed. Kyle R. is guilty of the socialists' worst crime, counter-revolutionary action. To them, that is worse than what Rosenbaum did and Brooks' retaliation attacks. Kyle is guilty of many things, but, well, no, counter-revolutionary action is probably one of them when I think about it.
These things happen.
Lucky Leo 25, follow-up question. Art, have you finished the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie? If so, what did you think? I wanted to add that it was great to see you, Kibbs and Razor, rip GW to shreds. The Age of Madness trilogy. That's a different one, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yeah, I haven't read that. I might need to look into that because I absolutely loved the first Law by Abercrombie. That one was really good. So if he's made these, I might published in 2020 and 2019. Yes, this is relatively recent. I might have to have a look at these because the first Law was really good stuff. Needs a TV series. It'll be made by Netflix, and that'll allow me to really whine quite loudly, which will be good. I would enjoy that. Kyle, why must you prevent this from happening?
I didn't do nothing. I'm innocent.
Maleficus Strike On says, Kibbs, you are Arch wife. Of course he touches you.
You'll be bullied later, and when you're crying and alone, you'll know why.
That is true. Hyle says, Thought Quake is also making a game. I send you first Tesla the Weatherman. He making 2 games at the minute. Galactic Chef and Cargo Defense don't.
Don't?
Cargo Defense don't?
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that.
See, now that would be a good title for a border defense video game where you play as like the border defense agency. Like, just don't.
Just don't. And then they just like turn around
don't.
across the border and start walking back. Okay.
We're sorry.
Very dejected, like head down. All right. It's so tragic. I love it.
It's not tragic, Kyle. It's ways and means. Shadow Fox 2300 says, y'all, Jesus, still owe me a rock thrower. I have not forgotten. Bubbles owes you one. I owe you nothing.
Yeah, no, Bubbles promised to build a rock thrower when we played through Total War. We were doing a co-op stream of it, right? That was a while ago, about a year ago. And Total Warhammer 2. And Bubbles is like, all right, because he donated for a rock thrower, because we accept, like, he donated, like, build him a rock thrower. And Bubbles is like, okay, he will. That's what he said he would do. And then Bubbles, like, halfway through the game, Bubbles just fucking couldn't handle Total War Warhammer anymore. Like, he literally rage quit. He's like, fuck this game. And I'm done, because he hated it. Like, that's before the Beastmen update came out, and we were pointing out how bad the Beastmen were and factions that don't get DLC, and how awful they are to play with. Because that's a huge problem in that game. And he never got his rock thrower.
Bubbles is a terrible human being, and he should take it out of his ass, frankly.
Yep, punish Bubs.
Absolutely. You should see his lazy little ass in Anno, too. I give him the second island, he builds nothing on it and just keeps waffling around in the water with his little boat. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like, Bubs, I'm doing all the building. I was like, yes. He's just playing in the water. It's disgusting.
He's just splashing around like, heh, water wet.
Water wet.
It's like, no, Bubbles. Water isn't wet. Water makes you wet. And he's like, oh.
Oh. That's tragic. Jay Roldo says, remember the Halo tabletop game? I remember. I don't. Well.
What was the name of the tabletop, or what?
I don't know.
You read that too quickly.
Tabletop game.
Oh, Halo. Halo had a fucking Monopoly board game, so does Warhammer, and they also have a Risk board game, so does Warhammer, and like everything else.
Actually, Whorehole,
I
the
don't.
40k Risk game and Monopoly game are jokes. They're memes. They're not real.
They're
This
not
dog.
real. Oh god. I used to really like Halo. The current lore is absolutely garbage, and I've seen people in your Discord server defend Halo 4, and they will be punished. I will talk to
Anything that
Discord and have
annoys
them
the game
banned.
journalist, I'm all for.
You're all for Halo 4? Mega cringe.
Yes.
Mega cringe. No, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be.
Random article headline: Former BioWare lead writer believes a live-action Mass Effect will be terrible. Yes, yes, it will. It absolutely will. There's no doubt about it. It'll suck.
Oh man, I'm so sad. I've been playing through Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO for SWTOR, and it's actually not half bad. Like, it's actually pretty fun. Like, for the first game, the expansions suck, and it makes me go like, God, like BioWare even at this point could have still made another like Knights of the Old Republic game as well. I'm glad we got Star Wars: The Old Republic because it gave us Empire quest lines and storylines for the Empire. That's such a cool unexplored thing, and it made me want them to make the next Knights of the Old Republic from the Empire, the Sith Empire's perspective. Oh man,
They didn't, Kyle, and they never will. So stop hoping.
hope and change.
Crush your dreams. It's the
What?
only way to be happy. Silence Do Good 1776 would love for you guys to have Rikita Law on. Oh, Jesus. Well, in another 7 years when we get a message to him, I guess we'll try.
What do you gotta do? Use fucking pigeons or something?
Yes.
Oh my god. Quite a polite.
Boag asks, have you reached out to Pipkin and Pippa yet? She can help kids finally take the next step in his VTuber career.
Who?
It's probably true.
Also not a VTuber.
Yes,
I'm
you
a
are.
step above that. I'm a PNG tuber. I've transcended to the next plane of being.
See, almost should. Not even as a meme, almost should, because that would be great for Kyle. He would have his idol. Like, yes.
Who's
I
my
can be a
idol?
VTuber too.
What are you talking? Gosh darn it, Barch.
It would be a good learning experience for Kyle. Then again, the whole VTuber market's collapsing a little bit. I did hear there was a massive goddamn drama with the V-Shoujo thing recently, so Hey, that's the benefit of the Japanese model of doing this, the HoloLive model. Just make it absolutely clear to all of your talent that they are expendable toys. They're expected to dance and squeak cutely, and the moment they display so much as an ounce of reality, they go the way of Kiryu Koko. See, that was a fine scalp, too. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a highest earner, we'll still eat you over showing a flag. That instills some fucking discipline right there, Kyle.
Honestly, the whole thing about VTubers is they're e-thoughts, but they're even more fake than your average e-thought. And that's what boggles my mind. Because people are like, oh, they simp for them even harder. And these are the same people that thought e-thoughts are bad. And they're no different. They're e-thoughts, but you can't even see the titties now. Like, I wouldn't even give money to an e-thought to begin with, let alone a faker e-thought. Oh my god. VTuber is e-tuber in my eyes.
Man, you're so mean, Kyle. I disavow.
But I'm not wrong.
So mean. So mean.
What I speak
Taiwan.
is truth, and these words hurt. It's not called Taiwan, it's called the
China.
Republic of China. God, that means they own all of China. They're the legitimate government. Acknowledging them as a province is only helping the PRC. You filthy commie simps.
I think Taiwan is a wonderful little place. We need to go to a vacation to Taiwan, Kai.
You mean the Republic of China?
I'm pretty sure it's got to be pretty cheap in Taiwan, right? You know, the constant threat of nuclear bombardment's got to drive down prices a bit, you'd think.
Who knows? Maybe we can build our studio there. They'll be like, it's real cheap here. It's like, thanks. As missiles start landing, like, oh, I see why. Comes with the
The
territory.
problem
I
is they've
suppose.
got that Asian food nonsense. See, that's the problem right there, Kyle.
What?
Here,
See,
look at this for example. Look at that. It's fucking disgusting. They have goo on their meat. Like, ugh. Look.
the thing is, you'd be surprised. I'm actually not like I eat almost anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd eat that.
You'll eat almost anything, Kyle?
Yeah, unless it's
All right.
squash. No squash.
All right, Kyle. We'll see if you fucking will eat this. Unless God, can I? Oh,
Eastern
no.
Eastern foods have a certain appeal to them. Not Chinese. I don't want to eat dogs. I don't want to eat dogs at all.
This looks like vomit. Like, this looks like actual vomit.
Southeast Asia has some interesting recipes.
Oh, heavens. Yeah, I'd be very hungry living in these countries. Really, really hungry. All the time.
I do want to try these things. I want to
I'll
try
just
more food.
subsist of, I don't know, buns.
No, Arch, we need to try more foods. There's actually a good reason to do this, and actually, in terms of creative writing, understanding cuisines and different variations and types of cuisines and how they evolve differently in different cultures and regions better helps you understand and write when you actually write when you talk about your fictitious culinary arts in your world.
I don't care about that. Dead dog in sticky rice. That's a dish.
I'm not eating
Pig's blood cake. Man, these poor countries have some hefty food, Kyle.
Listen, the thing you sent me doesn't look bad. It looks like little bits, some sort of
It
beef.
looks awful. Like it's all mixed together like that. Disgusting.
Okay, there's something we need to make clear for people because they're gonna be confused. Arch is very much he doesn't use a plate per se. You know those little trays you get in school where they keep things separate? That's what Arch really likes. He likes to make sure his peas don't touch his steak. He likes to make sure his steak doesn't touch his, potatoes. It's all gotta be separate. So, You're just afraid to mix things together. Mixing things together can create new flavor combinations to create new types of flavors. You need to broaden your horizons.
I don't. I get plenty food right here.
You plain Jane. Oh, I'm salivating at the thought.
Queen Nida says, Kibs. Art can't pronounce vehicles. Also Kibs. Ahego.
It's Ahego, actually.
Sorry, anyways.
Doesn't matter. If I say it, it's right. Want to know why it's right? Because I said it.
Kyle can't pronounce most words in his own fucking language. He gets to shut up about the vehicles.
That's because I'm just a Midwesterner. You don't understand me.
Because you're retarded, Kyle. You can't blame your fucking birth spot for your own mental deficiencies.
Midwesterners transcend the rest of the United States. We're superior beings.
Due to the magnetic poles in this area, every child is born with a speech impediment.
It happens. Oh, God. Just don't ask about boat. A lot of them like boot.
Boot?
Help. They actually do say that.
See, that might actually be a slight holdover from their original heritage, but...
Possibly. Makes sense. I mean...
You stole that word from us. We invented bought. Then you went, bought? No, bought.
I didn't steal the word. A lot of the people in the regions we settled are basically people from Scandinavia who are like, we don't want to be in Scandinavia because we don't want to die anymore in these silly wars, so let's go somewhere else. And so then they got attacked by Indians instead, and they're like, oh, shit.
God damn it. Scalding it.
I don't want to turn
Fiend
into a slave.
says, I'm working on a D&D 5e setting guide, and I was wondering how much you guys charge for advertising, or maybe a one-shot. Either way, keep up the good work. Guys, Urban Mech for life. I charge too much. Kyle charges not enough. There you go. Ask him.
When it comes to advertising, you'd have to go explain further about that. Because Bubbles and I, we've taken, just like Arch, you've taken ads too. Like,
yes.
I've done it for a few Russian studios, little indie ones that were making their own little mecha game.
I'm quite happy to scam Russians out of money.
I don't mind. It's just, the thing is, when it comes to advertisement, like, I told the Russian team, like, if I don't like it, I'm not gonna, like, lie about it. Because number one, like, as a content creator, I put stock in the things I say. So if I don't believe or like the thing I'm saying, and I lie to my audience, then that fucking devalues everything. You can't say that. Or you can't like say something like that where you devalue what you say, because people take stock in what you recommend them. People purchase games based on what, I give them recommendations, and sometimes they take those things. I don't want to scam people out of money, especially because these people are the same people who pay me. I owe them everything.
Now, speaking of that, I would like a hefty sponsorship, please, from the people who make Tizzy Simmy military games. That would be nice.
You could reach out to them.
To be fair, they probably don't have any money.
Even so, you could still technically, get something out of it in exchange for early access, in exclusive interviews, things of that nature. Just because a studio doesn't have a lot of financial power doesn't mean it doesn't have nothing to offer.
Are you saying we should extort them for sexual services, Kyle? Because I disavow.
Listen, I wasn't saying it directly, but those milsim people, they're pretty pent up. I gotta blow off some steam at some point.
Disavow loudly and insistently. This is why you will never become a true VTuber, Kyle.
That's fine.
Too much controversy.
You say that as if they're like, oh, I want to be a VTuber. It's like, I don't want to be a VTuber. Fuck that. Number one, it's an oversaturated market. Number two, it's cringe. Cringe.
Shadow Fox 2300 says, Bubs isn't here. You two are here, so I'll take it from you all. The problem is that we're not playing Total War Warhammer, but Bubs, he has committed himself. He's gonna have to now.
Oh. I've tried to broach the subject. I've tried to broach the subject with both Bubbles and Arch, because they're both Scandinavian mountain monkeys. Well, one's a fjord monkey, one's a mountain monkey, whatever.
You have nothing on me, Kyle. You can't make me play that game.
And it's like, a part of me goes like, as a content creator, I really, really should play Total War Warhammer 3. I have a lot to say about it. A lot to bitch and moan and whinge and cry and piss over. But at the same time, on the other hand, I don't fucking want I really don't want to buy that game because it looks fucking boring. If it's anything like Total War Warhammer 1, 2, and Troy and the recent Total Wars, it's gonna be absolutely boring. Fuck, I'll get bored of it within an hour. Christ.
Ash wants that VTube money to get the NTR material. If I had VTube money...
NTR material? What?
I'm sure I could set... See, I would just use all of it to commission just NTR works. That would be funny. Yes.
You're terrible.
You just line it up for weeks ahead of time.
What do you... Okay.
Are you sure you want all of these? Yes.
What kind of NTR would you make?
That's a good question, Kyle. One that I haven't frankly given as much thought into as I should have, I guess.
Yes, because it's like, all right, let's propose that you do this degenerate thing, right? We've all done degenerate stuff before, but this is particularly degenerate. What would you create?
See, there's been a drought in like the full-on harem series for a while, so I don't have that many anime characters I hate anymore. And they're actually making an anime of a manga and a light novel I really like. Coming out soon. The English translation is something along the lines of "It's tough being a mob in a otome game," and the idea is that a dude gets isekai'd, but he gets isekai'd in the world of an otome game, which is dating sim games for girls, basically. And so he's a man in a world where men have no power and they're just useless background material, and he's not even one of the main characters. He's just some dunce. And that's shit. And he gets to suffer. And that's funny. And I like it.
Well.
As long as they suffer, I'm fine. Like, there just needs to be suffering. That's the benefit of NTR. Suffering.
Oh my god. I just looked over a chat. Disgusting. Netori is better than Netorar, rare, whatever. NTR opinion disregarded. Also, he's got a Year's Revenge picture, so his opinion matters more.
Ah, good. We're entering the Netorare versus Netori debate.
There's Boog. Boog is, look at him just wiggling with excitement, being a weeb.
Leon Bartford, yes, that was his name. He's a good boy. I'll have to try and figure out what I want to make NTR of. Well, I'm sure we can come up with something. NTR, a country. NTR, China? Yes. There we go.
China's sitting on the coast watching as America fucks Taiwan.
Fucks Taiwan. Oh, there you go.
Okay, that would be funny.
That would potentially be mildly amusing, yes. Japan looks on to lightly disturbed, but lightly turned on as well.
They start coming over too, like, hello, Taiwan-chan.
NTR gangbang. See, that just defeats the point, really. I was like, no. You gotta have certain standards here, otherwise it's just hentai, you know? It needs to be something more pronounced, Kyle. This is very important that you understand.
It's funny that you bring that up, because China's basically been a cuckold like this entire fucking time. For how many decades? They're committed. Committed to the, what is it called? Fetish? Kink? Lifestyle? I don't know, Arch, you're the expert. I'm asking you.
No, I'm gonna let you dig your own hole on this one.
Chat, what is it? I mean, it is a fetish. It is a kink. But is it a lifestyle? I mean...
Is it a lifestyle?
It stands to reason...
Things, Kyle?
It stands to reason that it could be. Because China has lived... For how long? The communist version? The bandit one? What, 40 years? I can't do math. Since, like, the 50s they won, right? So it's like 60 years? 70 years? Chat's like, big thinkies.
Truly, I cannot condemn enough. Don't Pete, XX, looking forward for the Arc streams. Arch, who do you think will die the most, and what would your first tame be? My first tame, they'll be the same. Kyle and Kyle. There you go.
What?
Kyle will die, and then he will be naked on the beach, and then we will put him in a cage.
And then we'll put him naked. What?
Then we'll have Sargon drag him around or something.
Oh, chat says it's been 70 years. And yes, actually, there is a swinger lifestyle and a cuckold lifestyle. Fuck, imagine living your life like that. What a fucking waste. I guess, you know, at the same time, I mean, it's their choice. Fucking weird, though.
The cuckold lifestyle.
It just seems like, why? How long was the 100 years of humiliation?
Again, no. Kyle, you know, they're having fun.
I mean, if it's consensual, you know, whatever. Actually, with China, it isn't.
Can you have non-consensual cuckoldry? Actually, moving on. Kenny-san, 09. Well, if I can't support GW without feeling sick and backstabbed, then I'd rather throw some money at Arch and VTubers. Good. Good. That is the correct option. And Boag, Kanojo ga senpai ni... Oh, Jesus Christ. Ni netorareta no de senpai no kanojo o netarimasu.
Words.
Why'd you make me read Japanese? My brain hurts. Got a manga. Anime soon. Oh, Jesus. I haven't even read this. Okay. Okay, let me see here then. An NTR manga. See, now that sounds mildly pointless to me. Like an NTR manga. Surely the point of the NTR is a little bit more brief than a love story, correct? But no, apparently not. It's not on my manga site. God damn it. My Tiny Senpai at Work. No, I don't think it's that one. Oh well, it gets an anime. I'll watch it then. Chloe says, Arch, want some mountain oysters? No, because I don't know what that is.
Chat, so
Probably filthy and degenerate.
Chat is really degenerate right now.
Peasant thoughts. Hey, Arch, we in Finland have blood pancakes. I'm quite sure you have those in Norway, so Chinese blood soup doesn't sound too bad. Also, have you seen those videos on YouTube of dogs getting fried alive at a Chinese food market? No. Or the ASMR mukbang one? No, and I don't think I want to see them either. That sounds awful. Now, I have seen mukbang, and it's one of those things I will never understand. It's like, yes, watch this person eat. Okay, then. Well, if you say so, I guess.
Fuck, if you could just get paid to eat food, like, hey, how you doing, chat?
It's a massive thing. It started in Korea. They're by the name Mukbang, which I believe is Korean. And it grew massive over in Asia. Like, it's just people eating food. And that's it. It's not even the commentary. It's just people eating food.
Perhaps it's a sense of belonging why you watch something like that. Maybe culturally, because people are so distant and secluded, people don't have friends or don't have time to eat with families and friends and stuff like that. And so they watch these things because then they makes them feel like they're not eating alone. That's very tragic.
And I don't want to hear about it.
That sounds so sad.
I honestly think that the main point of it isn't even that. It's watching people tuck away actually genuinely disgusting quantities of food as well. And some people apparently enjoy the sound, which confuses me even more, but such, again, is life.
Fucking weird, dude. People are into some weird shit.
Oh, I am okay, let me just get this straight right now, okay? I am incredibly, vehemently, thoroughly, repugnantly racist to Asian food, alright? I hate it. I hate the look of it, I hate the smell of it, all of it. Asian food? No. I would almost, not quite, but I would almost rather eat English food. I would rather eat in London than eat Asian food. No, Con. No.
I'm making chat look at it. What is this? It's got its own culture, even ASMR mukbang. I just googled.
Oh yeah, no, it's a massive thing. It is an actually massive thing.
1.56 million subscribers. They even put on a little show, and they got like these little fake plastic hands, and it's a nose and a mouth to look like a face. So they're putting like, that's a lot of effort, and they must be wearing some sort of green screen, if I had to guess. Oh, it's so stupid. Help me.
I don't think you deserve it.
It's such a high level of effort and production value. I have many questions.
None of which will ever be answered, I hope.
Look at that, though. There's a serious amount of effort into the editorial work put into this. What the hell? Chat, this has like opened my eyes to a new corner of YouTube I didn't even know existed. That's weird. That's very weird. I'm both unsettled and morbidly curious.
This is the thing, chat. I don't treat you like this. Only Kyle does this to you. Only Kyle does this to you.
The right amount of donations to Arch's wallet could make this disappear in a heartbeat. I'm helping you, Arch. You can't complain.
I can, though. Chloe says, when you could accidentally make someone angry, then get disappointed at any time by CCP, you'll probably be more loose or not anger important looking guy that is doing your wife breed when you can commie survival tactic. That was a disjointed sentence, my dude.
Look at how fucking... Some people really don't like that. Other people like it. What the hell? That's so weird. What a weird thing.
I don't like it. It's fucking creepy.
Just watching people eat. Yeah, I could see
It's
it.
highly negative.
Like watching that for the little bit I did, like was very like it's like one of those things where it's like I feel uncomfortable, but at the same time I'm like looking at the food, I'm like the food looks nice, but like watching the person eat the food is kind of weird. It's like what's going on here? That must be very much an Eastern thing if I had to guess. It must be some sort of cultural thing.
I just think the Asians are batshit insane, frankly.
It's
Which has its upsides and its downsides. Upside, it creates anime and manga. Downside is it creates things that you show on screen. Disgusting.
Listen, Chad, I'm not that cruel. I didn't fucking enable the audio because I was terrified.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And the worst part is, too, Westerners are adopting this, and it's really, really, really awful.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, there have been. There's that one, that meme of that sort of very large, rotund man that eats food and then cries because he eats something like super disgusting or something like that. I've been seeing him trending on, like, not trending, but I've seen a lot of memes of him, and I only found out about him relatively recently from your Discord. Because I saw some stuff posted there about him. It was weird.
I don't even know this thing, and I don't want to know this thing.
I don't know it either. But yeah, no, it's in the US too.
Of course it is. Your people is always at fault.
In Europe as well.
Evolved Potato says, Nettorare is for people like Kyle, the people that gets cucked. Oof, cruel. Nettori is for people like Arch, the people that do the cucking. Oh, nice. Nettori is the obviously superior. The biggest cucking is for by people that fuck women and a feminist guy trap. I mean, that would be the ultimate. So you're, at the one hand, you're the one getting fucked to NTR someone else, and then you fuck the person doing the cucking for next level cuckold. This is getting complicated.
Honestly, my thoughts on this is that the only person that's cucking anyone is the person who's getting fucked by both parties, because they're getting double while the other person's getting like one person out of it. I don't know. It just seems like it's gay no matter what. It just seems... There's nothing straight about it. It's very gay. It's like, that's used goods though. In an actively relationship. Like, it's one thing when a person, like, you know, leaves a relationship, but they're in a relationship with that person. So the person that's cucking them isn't actually getting the girl at the end of the day. And so is he
sure
not
about
the
that?
cuck?
I've read some funny stories that Sargon frequents actual cuckolding Reddit sites which he reads for his amusement.
What?
Because there are some retarded stories on there.
Okay.
One was a post literally titled, "My girlfriend's bull raped me. I don't know if this lifestyle is for me anymore." Like, that's a glorious title right there. First and foremost, like, let's ignore for a second the whole, like, my girlfriend's bull raped me part, because that one's bad enough in and of itself. But the question afterwards, I'm not sure this lifestyle is for me anymore. Like, this wasn't enough to be an instant turn off. It's just a little bit of, I don't know. Did I like this? I'm wondering now.
That's, I don't even know what to say about that, to be honest.
Wow, this enormous dick in my ass is really making me reconsider my life choices.
All right.
I mean, it would.
All right.
You can't lie, it would.
At this point, it's no longer a cookie thing. It's a threesome thing, right? Is that how that works?
Is it? I mean... See, now we really have to question logistics again. If it goes from consensual sex to the rape of a third party, is that a threesome? That doesn't sound like a threesome.
I don't know what you call that, but it seems different. I don't know.
It seems different.
My head hurts.
Again, I put forth the suggestion that this cannot be considered as a threesome. Like, it seems to violate the rules.
What are the rules again on this? Oh my...
I mean, I don't know, but I am presuming it must involve some degree of consent. Because again, here's the thing: if you're having, No. No. This cannot be a threesome, Carl. I reject the definition because if there's only two people consenting, then if anything, it's just gang rape, but with extra steps.
This is weird, but also mildly retarded, and makes me question humanity. Oh my god, that's so weird. Wait, hold on. Jamie Armstrong says Cuckolding Reddit is rather expansive, but when life goes bad, you can read those nutters and think, wow, I'm not mentally ill or living the worst life possible. See, the issue I see from like a psychological standpoint, even if that's something that somehow gets you off, is that opens up a terrible can of worms. Like, you're basically weakening and undermining the strength and credibility of your relationship to get off to something really weird, which could definitely lead to cheating, could lead to them leaving you, could lead to like some sort of really complicated emotional things. Like, this just seems really stupid.
See, you assume that all of those things aren't actually the precise reasons why they do it in the first place.
They're like, I want my girlfriend to leave me, or I want my boyfriend to leave me, or I want my whatever to leave me. Like,
or they just want these really fucking weird-ass emotions.
Surely there must be another way to get those emotions without doing that.
Like, well, yeah. Go and watch actual cuckolding porn, I guess.
I mean, if they're into some sort of humiliation thing, right? So, like, BDSM maybe, or something, or one of those other kinks can scratch that itch.
See, I must disavow. Now you're beginning to confuse the fetishes again. I'm very disrespectful, Kyle. Disavow.
Disrespectful. These are very weird things.
Mucho disavow. I do not accept. Peasant Thought says, by Mukbang, I meant Mukbang where they eat actual cats and dogs. Many of the videos have been removed, and you can still find some. Watch this. Not a chance in the fucking world.
No.
Not an actual chance in the fucking world, no. Check this video. I'd also make Skims watch the entire video I demanded. You're gonna have to pay me a lot more than $1 to do maybe watch something like that. Like, we're talking a few $1,000 at this point.
Hold on.
Watch this woman eat a dog. Like, no.
This is weird.
Good God.
Jamie Armstrong says, cuck pregnancy man. That's the sad that opens... Okay, that's... Now you've done something. You created a life. And that life is now part of some weird kink and fetish. That's very complicated. And how does that work legally?
Yeah,
what the
this
fuck?
Could be a long-term payoff for the masturbation side of things. You raise this child lovingly and caringly for years, and then, just as he's old enough to understand the implications, then you spring the whole story on him. Yeah.
What the fuck? That's so... the amount of actual trauma that could inflict on the child...
Oh. No shit. This was the plot of a fucking manga. I remember there's a really fucking hard edge manga, Death Tube or something like this, where there's actually a guy who raises his son to be like a psycho serial killer and kills his sister in front of him, and then admits to all of this in front of his son, just so he can look at his face when he admits to it.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, it's the food. There's something weird in the food.
There's some sort of trauma or something that has not been addressed. That's not rational. I can't... Like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it is manga, so. Glowy says, cocks are disturbed in the head. Read once about how his girlfriend fluffed the ball away his wife. We're beginning to use the terminology here now. And asked if that was gay.
What?
Another logistical question. These guys need help. A lot of them seem abused but too stupid to say enough. I mean, kinda yes.
It does seem like they're being abused. Like, there's nothing. It feels sad. And almost like.
There you go, Kyle. You're partaking in their fetish by feeling sad.
That's sickening.
This is getting complicated. Evil Potato says, I think you read it wrong. One guy being the top fucks both the female and a feminized male that are in a relationship. The cucker is in a relationship and doesn't take it. Cuckolding is about power exchange and domination. Yes, I'm a degenerate. Well, thank you for clarifying. Well, there you go, Kyle. There's your reason. It is a domination game. Are you satisfied now?
Isn't there something else they can do? I don't know. Whatever. It's weird.
Now we can maneuver back into safer waters with IDW. Vice Shiki-san, could you lice cats? Yeah, what about IDW? Oh, IDW, good girl. IDW, save us from this degeneracy. There was a really funny meme on the Girls Frontline Reddit too, which there's a scientist woman who's like the one person behind getting you all the gun girls, and the reason why you constantly get IDW Nyan was just because she's like, but I love IDW Nyan. What the fuck's wrong with you? You're saying you want less? That was during like a double IDW Nyan event too. It was really funny. The depths of that had some humor. IDW. Jack the Outcast says, Hail Hotch and breed kibs. Every company and small business needs to up and leave California and let it burn down in a pile of its own stupidity. That would be good. That'd be beneficial. Advantageous, even. No, Kyle, don't message me this. I will hurt you.
What? What are you talking about? Did you send me something?
Beskar Hammer, do you guys think that the West in general is responsible for allowing regimes that violate basic human rights to prosper, like the CCP and certain Middle Eastern allies, in favor of profits and easy lifestyles? We are all hippos. Yes, I mean, you look no further than the football thing happening in Qatar right now. Like, that is an obvious example of the West being like, oh, no. Here, wealthy Middle Eastern oil country, have this pretty prestigious sporting event. What, you're using foreign workers under slave contracts and you're arresting journos? Based, by the way. Go on. It's obvious hypocrisy. And yes, we are in part responsible for it because we don't just accept it. We do indirectly encourage it by giving them fat contracts like the football tournament thingy-bob thing. Tournament. Kiki Bally. Whatever the hell.
Yeah. That's not good.
We shouldn't do that thing, but we do that thing. And we're unlikely to get them to stop doing that thing anytime soon.
Yes, which is that in itself another tragedy.
Tragedy is the root of all cuckery, Kyle.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's necessarily true, but it sounded like a worthwhile thing.
IDW says Vice Shikakan. Kyle didn't answer IDW's question. Yeah, that was themed towards me. What was the question again?
Oh, Kiru. Oh, Kiru. I guess that means Kyle.
Restate question.
Well, read it, Kyle. Come on.
Where is it? Send it to me.
Got him.
Vaishikikan Kairu likes cats, yeah? What about IDW? I do like cats. Sure, IDW is pretty great, I guess.
I'd take IDW over cats, frankly.
I'd probably have an allergic reaction to IDW as well. I love cats. I remember every time I visit my mother's, I pick up the cat and I rub my face on it, and then later I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot I'm allergic. It's okay. Cats are pretty great. If I just wear a little mask, I'm sure... You know, I could just wear those COVID mask things. That'll prevent my nose from getting congested.
IDW Dunyan would be worth the allergic reaction regardless. So you'd probably also be bleeding from the ears on occasion, but
Bleeding
minor
from the
sacrifices.
ears on occasion.
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
See, you've only heard the Dunyan through like memes and shit. The thing is, the reason why it's a meme is that due to the way they set up the audio in the game, whenever she popped on the screen, she was screaming that IDW Dunyan. Like, it was loud. Many an eardrum was popped over that little thing.
I'm not surprised. And now I understand why.
Don Pete XX says, Kyle, if someone is okay watching someone else do their spouse and is okay with it, they don't count as a voyeur. Man, we've gotten so into some fucking deep definitions here we have.
Well, normally I don't mind expanding my knowledge of things. This doesn't help me write creative works. Not the kind I'm making, at least.
Oh, I don't know about that. How can you say that there are no degens in your universe?
There probably are, but I'm not going to address them.
Why not?
Because it's not the focus. In the same vein that when...
Like, fucking food isn't the focus either, and yet, look, we need to worry about the food. And no, Kyle. If you're going to worry about the food, you're going to need to worry about cuckolding in Astria as well.
Listen,
is
the food...
cuckolding socially accepted, Kyle?
Probably not, based on their
probably
vices and
not.
virtues.
That's not a good enough answer. Is it or is it not?
It's not. Probably not was more rhetorical than
okay.
Else.
Okay, it's not socially accepted. Okay, what is the punishment for cuckoldry, Kyle?
A punishment. Oh, ma'am. The thing is, punishment, because you rate Arch raises an interesting question actually when it comes to creative works, because when you're actually making a society, talking about the vices and virtues of a culture is very important, because in some places things might earn you scorn, but they might not necessarily earn you any actual direct punishments. You know, you might not have your hand cut off for stealing, or you might have it cut off, or you might be executed. So it's actually...
That would be a funny punishment. Cuckolding. Chop off their hands. Why?
Lop.
You don't need to know.
In a lot of other cultures, the chopping off the hand was because it was to show that, they lost their hand from stealing, because that hand was bad. It stole,
Yeah. But meanwhile, in Astria, it'll be the punishment for cuckolding.
Yeah, because the hands grabbed that ass that didn't belong to them.
Now, Kyle, who gets punished in Astria for cuckolding? The wife, the man, or the bull?
For the sake of just ending this, they all die. There we go.
They all die.
Punishment.
It's a fucking tyrannical regime you're planning there, boy.
It is a monarchistic, empire, nobility with all the wonders that bring along that. So,
you live at the chat suggesting better of branding. I don't well.
Branding? Wait, what? Branding those who commit culture should be branded. See, oh man, weird. I bet Slanesh likes it. Yeah, probably.
Glowy continues barraging us with facts of the cuckold lifestyle.
God damn it, Glowy. You're revealing something to us, I think.
Red, once a cuck got off on knowing the bull had AIDS and could infect his wife. This is a whole new field. California, that makes these people, I think we should nuke it. I guess it's legal in California, isn't it?
Oh my god. Like that. That's... See, this is what I mean. Like, there's something, actually seriously wrong with these people. It's not just a kink. Like, it's one thing if, you like something behind the bed. I don't need to know that. That's for your business and your spouse's business, whatever. But, they should seek help. They don't have to, but they should consider it. A lot.
Judgmental, Kyle.
That can't be right. That can't be healthy. It just sounds bad. Oh, man. It's like dysphoria. That's not right. You shouldn't want to become blind. That's not normal.
Chloe also says, cucks influence law, so that is probably how California got to the point where my car got broken into 13 times and that is okay. This is a nice city. Ah, yes, the little Twitter exchange.
Oh god, I saw that.
Everyone saw that. It's one of those things. And Evolved Potato says, if Kyle wants, I can get in some even weirder, more disturbing stuff. Extremely disturbing. Anyway, have more money and weed gives. I think we're disturbed out for one stream. Jack Lau, what is this conversation? I mean, really, how did we end up here? Oh, the usual. It happens.
How did we end up here? Like, what sparked
It
this?
is a lengthy discussion of logistics and definitions. It's fine. It's language, okay? It's positive. We've worked some things out today. Like, for example, that two people having sex and then raping a third party is not a true threesome.
It's not a true threesome. It is not indeed a sharing experience.
Indeed. It is a very one-sided experience. And last one, Lord Commissar Spartan says the punishment for cuckoldry should be castration. Again, I feel like this is harsh. And it lets the woman just walk off. I don't like that.
Yeah, she also helped enable this, by the way.
Absolutely. Branding or death is the only answer here.
I'm going to have to write that in canon that after...
Punish us cuckoldry by death. It's one significantly. It's a very harsh part of the law, but well, you know, it's how it is.
I feel like their laws are going to get more extreme. Like we're going to have some stoning laws if we keep this up.
Chap suggests that we started talking about this. All of this. It started out from Asian food.
Oh god, the Asians would cause this.
Probably, yes. We'll blame the Asians for this, I think. Right. Well, with all of that having finally been said, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for your very generous donations, and we'll see you again next week, where we'll be entering into the Christmas seasons, where I will expect the donations to at least triple, if not quadruple. And then maybe we'll bring on a guest. We'll put Dev in a corner somewhere, and we will make him explain why he thought it was a good idea to upload a video to YouTube discussing dogs fucking white women.
God damn it, Dev.
God damn
Didn't even know that. Oh, Dev.
Have a good day, everyone.